Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next session of Mariguard Mercenaries.
There you go.
Apologies. Before
What
we
day is
get,
it?
I think it's Friday. Before we get into the session, let's go ahead and give one of our players an opportunity to earn a point of inspiration by giving us a recap of what happened last time. Emily, I believe you said you had the modus and the motive.
Yep, I got notes, although they are a little scattered this week because of the research. I kind of have different chunks of stuff at different places.
It
Probably.
doesn't have to be linear.
It was a research session last time for at least half of the session. But up at the top, we had just gotten back from our kind of exploratory mission, finding the lost ship of Captain Boss, and this kind of uncovering of a little bit of the Divine City and our encounter with the King's Wake. So we get back from there, and Renata immediately talks. We have a little bit of downtime still before we go to the Arcanium, and so Renata talks to Treat about Tysis and are there is it true that there are no souls coming in from the sea? And that seems kind of weird. And Treat kind of says, I mean, Tysis would know more about the souls that are getting or not getting into their afterlives, but he's not super available because he doesn't live on this plane. So that might be a little bit hard to track down. And he also kind of noted that there's no he is one of he follows one of the sea gods near, and he hasn't really heard anything about this, but he encouraged Renata to check out anything weird in Kylos Bay area, any sort of oddities that were happening there. So she resolved to do that. Aryn played around with his cloak of many fashions, and a lot of us went and got food at the academy. We teleport to the Augustini Arcanium, and we do research on the kind of two main questions were: is there precedent for these seals? What are they about? And also, is there any credence to what Talos is saying about the souls not going where they need to? We got our code phrase to go home in the teleportation circle, which was "look to the rose and stand your ground. Before you fall, the rose will come." That's our teleportation phrase. And we were told not to mess it up or things might go pretty wrong. We signed into the Arcanium and found that we couldn't lie about our names, and that's kind of interesting. Scythe seemed to have some feelings about that. We studied a whole bunch of things and generally got distracted by the library. For example, Arya immediately got distracted by the ghosts that were working the shelves, and discovered that many of them seemed to be souls that were sort of indebted from some choices that they made in life. And that's kind of how she discovered that the librarian Hushen is this kind of perhaps demon creature that seemed to be a warlock patron to a lot of these souls, and this really upset Arya, and she was trying to help out the ghosts and didn't really do a lot of research, but mostly was trying to help the ghosts, and eventually ended up talking to Hushen and being can I help? How can I help? When do you decide to release them? And Hushen was are you offering your soul in return? And Arya was well, no, I can't do that. And then Hushen was all right, well, don't call me again. And so it was, poor Arya did not have a fun time in that place. We found a bunch of different books in a bunch of different places. The Guy looked up. Guy was kind of trying to look up what the seals could be possibly, and found a couple of books. One of them was on the theory of all arcane bindings, seals, anchors, and barriers. And was looking up seals that were used to repel planar influence. He found a really useful book that we found called the Vigil of Old Tides, which was folklore about sunken temples. And there was a quote from a watchman that was talking about 99 fathoms below they laid sigils, and the sigils were of memory and not of metal, but of memory. Each link an oath forgotten, or a name unsaid. So we had something about the sigils kind of relating to memory. It also noted that no compass spins true near the breach, which was maybe an interesting thing, and also mentioned that there were 6 of them, maybe 7, always one more than you count, and each one farther than the last. So that maybe gives us a number ? But it's still not a super. It's still kind of a vague number. He also found something about abyssal pressure and magical feedback, which was about how magical systems interact poorly in areas of deep spiritual displacement. So basically, like the arcane and the divine don't play well together. And also noted, because I think this is important for like what we faced in in our very first underwater fight. There was this quote that stuck out to me: "A successful seal acts as like as a blocker." Like does what it's supposed to do, but a flawed one acts as a lens and kind of mutates and like reflects back stuff that's happening. So that's interesting. There was also a book called Echoes in the Soul Stream, Spiritual Drift and Arcane Ties. So that theorizes that like souls left behind by echoes could leave like spiritual energy that conglomerates unnaturally, and that might like distort the echoes. Renata, as instructed, looked into like oddities in Kylos Bay and found out some really interesting things about a lost city called Etir. That she then kind of like cast a spell on herself so she could read Native Eterian, which is like a kind of a dead language, and found out about this divine city that had this particular power current called the Weft. That was a current in the soul stream that was coiled around places specifically where the drowned didn't pass on, and seemed to sort of like coalesce this like divine energy that gave people gifts and also visions of this kind of like spooky home that they'd never gotten to. And we kind of like in digging deeper found out that it used to be a civilization of sea elves and tritons, and the deepest, specifically native to like Kylos Bay area. It was called sometimes the Blessing Beneath, and the Weft granted longevity and magical sensitivity and physical prowess, and was often regarded as a gift, but like no deity was specifically worshipped for it, which was interesting. The quote that stood out to me there was that scholars now believe that it was a byproduct of the abyssal seals buried deep within Kylos Bay, feeding unknowingly on the magic built within. So the legends talked about like this kind of like divine weft, either maybe like warping, like basically like they got all these visions of like rotted stars and falling suns and like bad shit happening. But the Etarians like kind of were functionally immortal or close to it, and so they didn't really heed the warnings, and then they kind of descended into madness. First the seers and the priests, and then the children, and then like eventually there was this like silence of the tides that like reversed the tide, and the city seemed to like sink but also kind of forget itself. um Renata also found a children's book called Tales from the Glimmering Gulf about blue people that lived in coral castles, and they had these like sleepers that would, if you that you were kind of like told about, and if you dove too deep toward the sleepers you would forget your name. Meanwhile, Spring was looking up kind of like ancient civilization stuff to try to see how far back this went, and found some like pre-literary like civilization iconography that actually like related to the coin that we found, and the sort of like the chains and the soul coin. There were references to soul binding geometry as that picture, and it was this kind of like off limits sort of magic that can like bound souls to things, but it's not really about containing a person the way you would make a lich, but more about warding evil spirits away. She also found in this Runes Before Writing, the Language of Survival, about how some symbols evoked defense, and so this looked like a glyph or like a warding glyph, and it specifically looked celestial. And then we found out about the Ninefold Lock, which was the central lock with a 9-symbol lattice and a fracture pattern, that is supposed to sort of like be a path between the realms, but also seal a path between the realms. And the locks had to be carried by living beings and drew specifically on the bearer's stole for stabilization. And they were specifically made to suppress influence, including magical auras, but also the presence of beings without destroying it, which maybe gives us a sense of like maybe the city, if it still exists, is hidden or something like that. Also important to note, Aryn had glasses, but he didn't want anyone to see them, and the only one that did not notice was Spring because her passive perception is so low. And he also had this little internal conversation with Turn that was interesting, where he said, like, you fixed everything else about me, but why not the glasses? And they had that little snarky exchange about that, and that was a cool thing. He, meanwhile, was looking into Varian, and we found out a bunch of stuff about Varian Belcross, who was, like, originally just some dude, some, like, human dude. But he was like a really, really successful pirate. He never sank a vessel that was crewed by slaves, and he raised all ships that had the Black Contract sigil, which we also found out more about. He was eventually king of the Floating Irons and had the most loyal crew ever over 23 years, and eventually like carved his way into the heavens as soon as the gods came back. The Black Sigil contract was, and like basically a contract contract of ships specifically that used enslaved people, and like essentially government funding was behind it. The ANA had ties to them, so that's like kind of deep and dark. They eventually cut ties with them, but like still not a great chapter in their history. They were also the first purveyors of window ships, and like sailed to the Astral Sea to enslave Githyanki. They had this like Veil of Tears things where they kidnapped and enslaved a lot of sea elves, like thousands of them, specifically from Kylo's Bay, and then sold them and put them in the Astral Sea where they would surely die. Meanwhile, Scythe did not really have a direction and went to like find a story about the letter M and read a story about this person, Moranza Shardborn, who was a really cool hero that like kind of lost her memory because she made a heroic sacrifice, and like left little pieces of herself in all of the shards, the rifts that she sealed, and that like was not something that Scythe was anticipating connecting to, but that was a very compelling story for her. Later, when we were talking about this idea that like, oh wow, there's this whole city of people that kind of forgot itself, Scythe like noped out of that right away. She didn't want to like really engage with that very much because it's too close to home. Spring, we had a bunch of like little conversations about what could be going on. Spring thought that maybe the weft was like caused by some leakage from the Abyssal Seal, because she's like really, really convinced that the Ninefold Lock is like really is a ward. Like that was like the main thing that she's pretty sure about. And she really wants to look more into like what it's suppressing. Renata is wondering about why the seals are failing. Guy urged us not to lose sight of our like goal and to get info for Tabernac. And was also kind of wondering about like, should we work with Gavarian's people or against them? Scythe was wondering what the seals were made of and whether a soul could find its way back home if it doesn't know its name. Guy was kind of interested in like maybe the seals are made of memory, or perhaps like the structure of the soul itself. And Arya suggested that maybe the seals, like the weft, was beneath the vicinity, like was feeding on the city somehow, and it was like a dragnet that the city couldn't escape. After all of that research, we returned to the Mariguard and reported to Persh. Persh told us that Tabernac said that the artifacts had something to do with the Abyssal Veil and perhaps were entrapping souls of the dead. The next seal was going to be on the western sleep of the Kairos Bay, but we didn't have a precise location until tomorrow, and Tabernac would nail that down soon. We are meanwhile staying with Albi and Naga because they kind of know too much for us to cut them loose, and we don't want the Collegium to like get anything ahead of us. We absolutely have to stay ahead of them. And we kind of talked a little bit about like, are Varian's folks going to follow us or what? And honestly, like Parrish was like, it kind of doesn't matter. Like even if they get the seal, we have more information. And we also found out that Perse is carrying around a legendary hamster, Diggy the hamster of improbability. So that's fun. Aryn then generously bought everybody food and alcohol at the Mariguard Bard Academy. Arya was really steadfast in wanting to stealth downstairs to catch a rat for Vespa, but got caught by the bartender, and then Aryn like couldn't sweet talk him with magic, but literally just straight up bribed him. After an excellent burn that Arya got in about how like she didn't drink the shot that Aryn got, and when Aryn was like, you could have just said you didn't want it, Arya was like, well, you might have thought I was having a stroke. So clearly she hasn't gotten over that. And so Aryn essentially like talked the bartender into letting her go down there, but only if she didn't like actually steal anything. So an interesting thing to trust a rogue with, which she caught a couple of rats, and then she turned the tap for like one shot's worth of beer. Very petty. We loved it. Scythe, meanwhile, had a kind of fucked up day and got drunk and like gave money to the bard. A dwarf artificer, Cargan, came up to Spring and was like, I have a death charge, you should set it off. And Spring, who is not that kind of artificer, was like not super into this idea, but everybody else was very into this idea. And so she kind of like was pissy, and her pissed offness sort of manifested in like how much she disagrees with the mission at large, and how like she clearly is really conflicted about it. And Scythe was like, hey, I get you, but like not here, okay? And meanwhile, then Spring gave like the thing that she was crafting to Scythe, which was like a metal branch that was like the Feywild tree that we found in the Feywild, and it is a branch that is sort of like has the texture and coloring of a branch, but is still made of metal, to kind of like represent their friendship, and also like Scythe's whole deal. So we wrote down some information. Like Guy was all about this bomb and had like took this bomb, eventually like went to the bar and ended up getting kicked out of the bar because he held on to this bomb. And meanwhile, there was some dancing. Scythe was thinking about like who had been sacrificed for the medallions, and also I don't know like what I sacrificed, like what was sacrificed to make me, but I think it's like important that we go find out either way. Aryn asked Spring to dance, and Spring, having had some powerful Fae dancing bullshit, was like, yeah, sure, I'll dance. And then sort of like when Turn scolded Aryn, Spring was sort of like, hey, eyes on me, like don't listen to her, like we're gonna actually have fun. He tried to get Scythe to dance, and it was a valiant effort, and it didn't work. But they did drink together, and so now a lot of us are drunk, which is great. Arya did find her mice. And outside, Guy saw an individual that was taller than Scythe and seems to be another Warforged, but is made of like metal and scrap. So that's kind of like probably the next thing we're going to encounter. And then at the end of the session, Renata had a vision from Calciox, a very strange vision where she was sort of like on a coastal vessel from Trident, and the sails were down and the crew was silent. And it was really creepy, and the sea kind of like shifted open as if there was like a leviathan underneath, something really big, and all of these strange like urchin twisted spine creatures started to come out from the depths. And Calcios said some like really ominous shit about how like the seals aren't doors, they are weights. Break one and everything else shifts into the void. So like clearly a warning about like we know that at least one of these seals has been removed. And that we were going to encounter these creatures soon, and that we're going to have to face them. They're drawn to the disturbances like gulls to blood, and they aren't evil, just broken, but you're going to have to cut them down anyway. Your light matters. Don't flinch. So a warning for things to come. And that's where we start.
Yeah. So, right now, I believe, Guy, you and Scythe, and who else are outside?
Arya.
Are outside the Mariguard. The three of you stand just outside of it on the little wooden deck that is the facade of the tavern. And as I described last time, you see this individual towering across the street from the Mariguard. He's rusty. He is similar to Scythe in appearance in that he appears to be an automaton, except he has one eye, and it glows blue. And across his back is an enormous, rusty, it almost looks like a whaling knife. It is this enormous, very much looks like it was pulled from a ship's salvage blade, but it's not drawn. Yet, yeah. So, I'm going to pull you away from this little tavern encounter. It is late evening after all of your merriment as what was going on, and you left the Mariguard to see this individual.
Do you know this guy? The Scythe.
No. Not all forged to know each other.
Scythe contemplates him gravely for a second, goes, he's big.
He sure is. Guy's gonna move away from the entrance to the Merry-Garden. Like across the street. Do.
As soon as you get a little closer, you see, like, he was, like, looking in your direction. He wasn't, like, staring, but it was clear he had acknowledged you. And as you step off of the deck, he looks straight ahead, like as if returning to an at-ease stance. Scythe does what?
I was just going to say that she kind of looks at him and kind of gives a little up nod, like, hey, without actually saying anything. But that's it. That's the...
He doesn't respond.
Where is he standing? Specifically in the middle of the road, off to the side?
Across the street, like on the raised cobbles that are above where wagons would pass down this particular street. He's like on... It's not really a curb. It's just compacted dirt above it, basically. Close to the buildings on the other side.
kind of looking past us at the tavern, it seems like.
Seems like it, yeah.
Yeah. That's why I moved out of the way to see what he was looking at. I'm like, okay.
Arya, do you do anything?
Arya probably just follows Guy.
Okay.
to be honest with you.
As you get a little closer in your efforts to see what he's looking at, you all hear...
Something's wrong with the tide. It ignores the moon. She shouts and calls and begs, but the tide has forgotten her voice.
Not good.
That sounds really not good.
He...
Who are you?
You ask who he is, he just...
Yeah.
He turns and looks at you, like he actually, like, the single blue lens focuses on you. And it
Mhm.
seems like he considers how to respond for a long moment.
Dredger.
Oh, we've heard that name.
Where did we hear that name?
Yeah.
champion
Talus.
Called that. Dredger is
Talus.
the champion. The
Hey.
paladin.
You're not here.
Good call, though.
Yeah.
Out
Arya
of character, because I'm a no
Arya remembered too, though. She had
I didn't
to.
remember shit.
A spring-shaped pigeon just... like,
Arya remembered. She was
Sorry.
Talus. She said we would recognize Dredger when we saw him.
he doesn't say anything. He just waits to see what you do.
What are we supposed to do about the tide?
Talk to the moon?
I've seen it before. Long ago. Old magic. Wild. Loud. Hungry. It has a taste for law.
For what?
Law.
Or he's like,
Aw.
from
L
law.
A W.
Yes,
L-
L.A.W.
Interesting.
Law?
Law.
Oh.
Chaos.
He's
I
not
guess,
going to say
or
sorry for
abyss.
the accent.
No. That's not his fault. Okay, do you want to, I don't know, go tell people inside the tavern? I don't want to carry the bomb back in there.
You'll get scolded.
I feel like it's more of what we've heard, right? Arya does not know.
You see Dredger is looking at Scythe now. And he says,
Some of us were forged for a purpose.
Oof.
Some
Roasted.
were forged too early. You remember less than you think.
Scythe kind of stands there for a moment, and then she says, in a like.
you are quiet. Let me turn you up.
Quiet for me too.
It's a new headset. Let me see if I can adjust.
Don't worry about it. I've just changed your volume. Go ahead.
Scythe, you can sort of see the furrow just kind of creasing across the helm as she's just like staring at him, and she says, I don't remember I remember little. I don't think I remember more than I do. I remember very little.
It is different for each, and yet the same for all.
That's very cryptic. Can you please just tell her?
Is it related? Is it related to this? Or is it just more ways that I'm broken?
You and I are imperfect. You must cope with that. No one can do it for you.
Arya kind of like stares and she starts to get like a little defensive of Scythe. She like
But I'm
is
just
starting to
thinking about
glare
this
a little bit.
Scythe is thinking about this for a second, and then she kind of tilts her head, and she goes,
You hear the heavy shifting of metal, Arya in particular, as soon as you start to take more, not hostile, but maybe a defensive approach. No weapon is drawn, but you hear the sound of something being readied.
Well, I mean, nobody's perfect, am I right? This guy in the way of people who think they kind of maybe are perfect.
Are you saying that to Dredger?
I mean, I'm just saying it to the general crowd,
Okay.
man.
Sure. Dredger
To
doesn't
Arya,
reply.
mostly. This is like, what? Why are you getting emotions?
He's being rude to her.
I march. I march and trudge through the deep. And I bring you what I have seen. The sea is changing. Colors where they should not be. Stones that remember burning. Things born wrong.
and forces that have
Talos.
forgotten the moon.
Yes. Something is surfacing.
Oh. Well, thank you for the information.
And now I walk.
And he does. He turns, and he begins to walk down the street.
Like
A
towards
very-
the bay.
He just
Oh my god. he's
very
just gonna walk
slow and
back in the
plodding.
water.
She's gonna walk right back into the ocean, yeah.
Guy's like, oh, that's sad. I'm kind of sad now.
It's fucked.
As he leaves. That
No,
was
I'm getting
Dredger.
emotions.
The ocean is sick, is what he's saying.
Yeah. The tides don't move. Is
But
it like?
magically sick.
Well, yeah. I mean, the lights where they shouldn't be. That's like the colors we saw, right? The colored lights. Probably. I feel like we should probably talk to the others about this. I don't know. Listen, hold this, Scythe.
Okay.
You are handed an iron sphere. It weighs about
Uh-huh.
15 pounds.
I
It has
hold
a dial on one side.
So
She kind
heavy.
of just like holds it up against her chest,
Oh my god.
like I don't know what I'm doing with this, but I've been told to hold it. So that's what
Hey,
I'm
be
gonna
careful.
do.
It's explosive.
All right.
All right. Guy's gonna go back into the tavern
Okay.
and see where these chuckles are.
Well, okay, so while all that was happening, Aryn, Spring, Renata, what were you guys doing inside the tavern? Because Renata, you just had a vision right before this
Yeah,
happened.
she looks like That's So Raven, where she just kind of has her little vision, and then she comes out and she kind of like puts her hands on the table to like kind of like recenter her, like reaffirm that she is back in the tavern. And she will look toward Spring and Aryn to see if she can catch their attention.
They're dancing.
She'll stand up awkwardly, kind of like she'll like walk up to them while they're like dancing.
While you
There's
do
other
that,
people
Renata,
around.
I need you to make a con save.
Oh. Okay.
This has happened to you before.
So good.
11.
With an 11, you suddenly, as you stand up, you remember every other time you've ever had a vision or contact with Calciox. It's as though your body is strained, and whatever it is that is harboring or restraining the disease inside you suddenly laxes.
Oh,
And
no.
you fall prone as a searing
Oh,
pain
no.
runs from your right foot all the way up the right side of your body, crashing through every vein, every nerve. But with an 11, you don't scream. This is
Hooray!
normal.
But you are in heavy
No.
armor, so
You-
I imagine you clap.
Clonk,
yeah.
clonk, clonk.
You are also half health immediately.
Oh, I hate it
Jesus.
when that happens. So I have 5 temp hit points. Does it still go to half my max health?
Yes. You're at 19 hit points plus the temp.
Thank you.
Spring's passive perception is only 12. Does she still know that?
It's a person in full plate suddenly falling to the ground.
That's what I figured.
You see it. You might not understand it, but you see it.
Yeah, Spring immediately stops dancing and like looks around for danger. And I
Nope,
think is
it-
like at Renata's side immediately, like with her shield, like her shield is like coming up from off her back.
You see that Renata, her face, the eye that is green, for a moment it looks as though the black lines that run across her face are covering her entire face. Just for a moment. And then you blink and look again and they've receded. But the green eye is glowing.
Aryn would have run over there too.
Are you what the fuck? Are you okay? Are we under
No,
attack?
no, there's no outside forces. We're fine. I just had I tripped. That wasn't good. That was terrible.
Insight
It's not really what I
check.
want.
Are we
Roll an
drunk?
insight.
Are we still drunk?
I'm
You're
not. I
buzzed.
never got that.
Those of you who were
Okay.
drinking the whiskey, you're buzzed at this point.
23.
Renata was lying and she feels bad about it. You don't know if she feels bad about lying or she feels bad about how bad the lie was.
Yes.
Would Aryn roll the same? Am I at disadvantage or anything being drunk on a perception check?
Yes.
Mm.
Being drunk puts you at disadvantage on all ability
I
checks.
think I believe
Oof.
everything. Every word.
I mean, she looks very thin and wears very heavy armor. She's probably pretty clumsy. There was something I wanted to talk to you about, but I failed at getting up out of my chair.
All right. Well,
Oh,
let's get back to the here. Come on, let's sit back down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this
you
moment-
should-
At this very moment, Guy and Arya re-enter the tavern.
Does Scythe come with
Sans a bomb.
Oh, that's right. Scythe's holding the bomb.
And Sans a Scythe.
Just
And
outside,
Sans aside.
holding this bomb.
Okay.
Guys, I something. I had a vision. I wanted to. I had a vision. Can you come over here?
Oh yeah? Yeah, we're in here now too. Hey.
Yeah, I'm
Hey.
yelling at you, but I don't want to draw attention to us.
Oh. Okay.
He
We're
wants
here.
you to come over here.
Everyone in the tavern's like, who's yell whispering? Who is that?
What
Me,
secrets do
sorry,
they
me.
hold?
Guy just like waves and walks through.
Oh, okay.
Hey. Yeah, we saw it. Okay, no, you go first, I guess.
You saw?
Wait, no,
okay.
Scythe's outside with the bomb.
Okay,
There's a bomb.
is she okay?
I think so. She was when I came in here.
Well,
2
the
seconds
prom,
ago.
the prom isn't important. Let's go back. Go back to the academy. We're right next door.
Oh,
We
that's
don't need to
true.
be in public.
Maybe we don't need to be talking about this here.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can mean
Yeah,
it,
because
and it's
we got a
safer,
thing too.
confidential.
Yeah, definitely. You should bring the bottle. I'm gonna bring
Okay.
the bottle just in
Well, you
case we
paid
need
for it, so you should take it.
We definitely need it.
You take the bottle with
Um,
you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you have it.
When Spring kind of like passes Scythe on her way out, she'll kind of like stick her hand out because she's an artificer and she knows how to like properly like she'll put it in the bag of holding and make sure that it's like fine and the bomb doesn't go off.
Roll an investigation.
Oh shit, that's interesting.
You're unfamiliar with depth charges. You didn't
I
really
guess
look at it when Kargan was showing it to you.
I
That
can
is
tell you about
true.
it. I've been holding it, and talking to it.
Getting to know it.
I did
Babying
not.
it.
I have a great
Scythe says
investigation and I had
we've been
advantage, and I
getting
did
it
not roll
completely.
great. 13.
Oh man.
With a 13, this iron sphere appears to be very well made. It was clearly smithed with care and gentle hands. Someone built this with the intent of it, well, exploding, but also with a 13, you recognize that the iron sphere has thinned sections around it. Parts of the iron sphere that look like they're meant to fragment when this explodes.
Okay.
The dial itself is dwarven clockwork. You recognize it immediately. It is stable so long as it is handled the way it was intended to be handled. If that makes
Do I have a
sense.
sense? Do I have a sense of how it was intended to be handled?
Well,
Carefully?
with a 13, roll me a history check. How much
Sure.
dwarven artifice have you messed with?
I do know Dwarvish, if that helps. God, that's a 9. This is my pride. I'm gonna burn an inspiration. 25.
That's a lot better.
Dwarven.
better.
Okay, so with a 25, dwarven engineering is very particular. Everything is made and crafted with extremely tight tolerances, which means that when find something that is crafted by dwarves or with dwarven craftsmanship in mind, they're very, very precise and consistent and reliable, unless they are damaged. If a dwarven crafts item receives damage that it was not accounted for, they can become unreliable. So, at the moment, it looks pristine, and you are damn confident that when you set that dial to a number, it will blow up at that depth where it's set.
Excellent. And I feel okay about putting it in the bag of holding.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll.
As it is, you're confident. If anybody knows about explosives, it is Kargan Blastigrit.
Great. All right. Awesome. Yeah, I was giving him light shit last session, but that's mostly just because it's like, hey, you're hiring a different artificer to do your job. Okay. I will. Yeah, she'll stash it. She'll stash it and then head on in with the other people, with the others.
I need to stress, he didn't pay you.
Yeah, I know. I
Okay.
know. That's why she was giving him shit.
Noted.
Can I
Okay.
cure wounds myself on the way back to the Meriguard?
Yes.
Because owie. I'm used to this though. I'm gonna give myself a first level cure wound.
As they're heading back, Scythe is kind of walking at a diagonal. Not
Oh.
on purpose.
Away from them?
No, like as her path is intended to be straight, but she's kind of listing.
Oh, I see. Okay. You're zigzagging when you mean to be straight.
Needs to
Got
be
it.
tugged
Yeah.
back into line.
Okay.
Why is this?
It is not. It's not difficult to notice that Scythe is drunk. As you guys are heading back, you're going to the academy.
So we can talk a little more privately about our experiences.
Okay. You can go to the mess hall or one of your dormitories, or where do you go?
What phase of the moon is it?
You look up. It's a half moon.
Oh,
Waning or
careful.
waxing.
Scythe.
Waxing.
You almost fell over when you looked up. You lost your balance.
Do we want to go to somebody's room to talk, or
I just wanted to see if the
mess.
moon looked okay. Since it
She
can't
talking to
talk
you?
the ocean.
Yeah.
We-
Could you
no.
hear it?
But I wasn't praying. I was just looking to see if it looked normal.
Yeah. You
okay?
can go to my room.
Okay,
Okay.
I think I have a room.
You do.
let's go to
Yeah,
Aaron's
I got a
away.
room.
The only people who don't have a room at the Mariguard are Arya and Guy because they have their own apartment elsewhere in the city.
So, what does Aaron's room look like?
Yeah, Aaron, you've done this. What does it look like?
Kind of
yeah.
post.
At a
you
minimum,
have-
your room has a bed and a trunk.
So my room has a bed and a trunk.
Yes.
That's about it.
No decorations, no personal
Not-
effects.
No
Not
pinups?
really. No,
Arya,
there's some scattered, just like random. There's probably some empty bottles and some like discarded food stuff
There-
in the corner, like he's saying.
There is unendingly an image of a beautiful fiendish woman in a framed portrait in the corner of the room. And no matter how many times you throw this painting away, it reappears every time you re-enter the room.
Does it dominate the wall? I'm assuming.
No, it's not that big. It's
Okay.
maybe like an 8x11. It's not huge.
That's the only thing on the wall. Is a piece of paper size.
It's
portrait of
framed.
people.
It's framed.
Yeah. Is it at least a nice frame?
Oh yeah, it's like gold with silver finishings around it and very clean. Almost, you're pretty sure it's crystal. It's not glass in front of the painting.
So you know
Okay.
when you have to do oh sorry. You know when you have to do like the awkward like who chooses where to sit and stuff because like there's a bed that somebody
Yeah, in like a college
gonna have-
dorm.
and there's gonna be a trunk that somebody can sit on.
Yep.
Arya is gonna like claim the like corner before anybody else can and lean into it.
The corner of the room, the corner of the bed, the corner of the chest.
The corner of the bed. Or not the bed, the corner of the room. The corner of like near the door. Yeah, sorry.
There are some clothes like spilling out. So I think Aryn would come in half drunk and like be shoving clothes back into his trunk and like kicking garbage into a corner, like doing the best he can. All right.
Guy goes to
Realize
look at the portrait. Damn.
Damn.
Oh, she's beautiful.
Spring is gonna fiddle with her multi-tool for a second, and then a minor illusion of a mustache is gonna appear right below, on the portrait.
You
She's
hate
still hot, to be
you hate
honest.
to admit that it still looks good.
Oh no, she's hot.
I keep
Guys, like,
throwing that
yeah.
away, but it keeps coming back.
What a nightmare.
They're letting me throw it away.
Guy, you said you saw something?
We saw the paladin, the champion of Talus, right? Dredger?
Dredger, the name I totally remembered.
Dredger. Yeah, wow. I think he literally walked out of the sea to come find us to tell us that the tides aren't talking to the moon anymore, which I presume means they're still and not moving the way they should be. And
The ocean
oh
is
man,
well.
he said a lot
Scythe
of
sits
stuff.
down on the floor with her back to Aryn's bed, and she kind of tucks her knees underneath herself. It's sort of awkward, and she's gonna have a hard time standing up again.
He said a lot of things, and I was thinking about them, and then I looked at this portrait, and like half of them are gone now,
They're all
and I
gone.
blame this demon, this devil, whatever.
You hear in your head, devil.
In Guy's head?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Guess like, oh, he falls quiet, uncharacteristically.
For the first time.
The ocean is sick because of the old magic, he said.
Oh, let me post. I'm sorry. I'm going to post the image of what you see on the wall in
Please
the
do.
Discord chat.
So we can all be distracted.
Yeah.
Because of the old magic, you mean because of the
what?
the break?
He
No,
said-
the break, it's got to be the breaking of the seal, right? Like one of the
he
seals.
said he'd seen it before, and it was like it was before, and
Yes, he's
something was
definitely hot.
rising. Yeah. I don't see her yet. Where's she at?
It's in the
It's in
for
the
narration's
Discord.
sake chat.
In
Oh.
the chat.
God damn.
Why are you throwing
Damn.
that away? Why are you throwing that away? Crazy?
It doesn't
Care what your
like her,
opinions
man.
are. But come on, objective.
I'm upset
You'd
we don't
like-
have one with a mustache on it.
You can be hot and still like problematic figure that you don't like someone doesn't like.
I guess that sounds valid. Okay, so you basically got a warning from Dredger, or warning, more like a clarification.
Intel. He said he came to tell us, and then had to go back and trudge through the fucking deeps again, I guess.
What does he mean that the sea is sick?
He
tides
didn't
aren't
say
moving.
that. I said that.
Well, then, Scythe, what do you mean that the sea is sick?
What he said is the moon is talking to the tides and they can't hear her. They're just ignoring her anymore. And that can't be right. That's not how it's supposed to work. The ocean and the moon are connected. So it's sad and wrong.
I think that's a
You
fair
said-
point.
Renata, what did you?
Oh, I was granted a vision while I was still sitting at the table.
That does seem important.
Halcyon spoke to me. I was on a ship, and he was there too, and there was rain and storms and horrible twisted creatures crawling from the depths of the ocean, and he told me that they would be drawn to the instability of these seals. So he was warning me of what I'm sure is going to be something we encounter when we head out.
So, does that mean that maybe the things are connected and they're both about the seals? The seals are the problem?
It must be. Or
Maybe we should ask Folly about it.
the druid instructor? I
If
guess.
there's a severe imbalance in the natural magics of the ocean, and the moon and the ocean can't talk to each other, who would you talk to besides a druid?
That's
One
a
of the
good point.
nature gods? I tend to defer toward the source as opposed to the interpreter if I can.
Oh, she's got them all on the hotline, y'all.
I mean, I don't, but we could find a follower. Oh, that's an interpreter. Shit.
Don't druids usually follow nature
The
gods?
worst that happens is he won't know, and he'll just
I
tell
mean,
us
it's
to
not
smoke
a-
something.
And he's a trustworthy source. It's not like we're searching outside the Mariguard.
Yeah, it's like we're alone in this. We give all of our information to the people who pay us.
I don't even have cheeks and they feel wrong.
You have
No.
cheeks.
Your cheeks are fine.
She
Don't
cut
listen.
that dumpy.
They're all right.
Don't listen to that guy.
What guy?
What does he know? He spends all his time walking across the bottom of the ocean.
Oh,
What guy? What, did we miss? We missed. Oh, you said that. Never mind.
there was a guy outside.
I can ask Hot Devil Lady.
He's not wrong.
Do you want to? Doesn't that usually mean you owe her something?
I don't care. Right now.
I don't know if that's true.
She's got a funny
I don't-
mustache on, and that makes it a little easier.
Aryn, I just don't think you're in the state to be making these kinds of choices.
I'm making the best choices right now.
I mean, he's already it's a little late.
Yeah, I
What?
mean,
I would say watching
Wow.
this in Cloak of Many Fashions turns to like the brightest pink, and he only wears black.
Hey.
And he's like, choices.
Hey, pink and black goes with everything.
I could try. I don't know. She knows a lot of stuff sometimes, and some days she wants to help, and other days she doesn't want to. I don't know.
I
You know,
always want to help.
She's talking in my head now.
You said my name like 3 times.
That's true. I did say it. I'm talking out loud now, fully to her in my head, in front of everyone, like making really dissociated eye contact with people as I'm talking to Turn. Just
She
like
does that. It's
You all notice that as... Sorry, I didn't mean to just fucking roll a train over you, the Hellfrog, but you all notice as Turn is speaking in Aryn's head, the painting's face is moving and as if she's speaking in a moment.
that's
Whoa.
wow.
yeah, yeah. I did say your name. Did you hear that whole conversation about the ocean not talking to the moon? What's that about? You know.
I heard it. I can look into it. I have some guesses.
Sweet. That'd be helpful.
I'm going to roll for Turn.
It's your turn to roll.
Turn says, My first guess. Magic and, well, gravity don't often mingle. With the exception of wild magic. Chaotic magic has a interesting tendency to make all the rules forget where they go. So, my then assumption would be if the oceans are no longer being pulled by the moon, there is something chaotic and wild about the magic that's influencing it.
That's smart.
Yes.
What is?
Oh, that's right. I turned you away so they can all hear you too, or it's just gonna be me?
Are they all interested in a deal?
I'll talk. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. That's cool. That's cool. Turd says that wild magic or other magic, hold on, doesn't get along with gravity, but wild magic can mess with gravity. So if the moon's not pulling the ocean, something could be.
Drudge. Yeah.
He said it had an appetite for law.
For law. He said it woke something
So
up
it,
that had an
like-
appetite for law.
So
So
it's
it's eating the
devouring
law.
It's
So
eating the
wait.
rules.
fundamentals of
Physics?
structure.
It's eating.
Oh my
Or
god.
it's disrupting them if it's so chaotic, I guess.
Well, and isn't Varian? I mean, Spring is looking at Renata. Isn't Varian pretty chaotic too, or am I wrong? I don't fucking know any.
Certainly, but I don't know if he advocated for pure anarchy. Like, he had a code that he didn't believe in slavery and the subjugation of others.
Oh.
That's a morality he lived by. He wasn't purely
Chaos
chaos.
isn't the absence of morality.
Yeah,
Hey.
That's something else. Ooh.
Hey.
but is wild magic the absence of morality? Can I roll for Arcana? What do I know about wild magic?
Go ahead.
Well, and
Roll
law is
Arcana.
not inherently moral, I suppose.
No.
That's the truth.
Oof.
23.
As a studied
It's-
artificer,
what the-
Spring, you know that wild magic is quite literally the extremes of probability when it comes to magical effects. While most magic follows the weave, ley lines, and the order by which it is created by Magos and the other magical effects of the world, primordial magics, wild magic is something else. Wild magic is bananas cuckoo crazy and can do whatever not it wants, because the universe doesn't really have wants, but it does do things that are improbable. Almost by nature, it does things that one would not expect. It's as if it flips probability on its head, literally countering the essence of law and order by its very existence.
Is it still technically arcane? As like a magic source? Like as opposed to divine, for example? Or as
So,
opposed to
natural,
Or is it-
divine, and arcane are methods by which magic is altered and controlled. But magic is magic. If that makes sense.
But wild magic is like its own method.
Wild magic is breaking the rules and barriers between normal magical practices. Wild magic is magic that doesn't do what anybody thinks it should do because there is no reason. It's not understood.
Sure.
It's chaos.
Either arcane.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, Spring is thinking about that book that they read that said that, like, divine magic and arcane magic don't play well together, and like Spring is like, would that like equal wild magic? Could wild magic be like a byproduct of two
What-
kinds of magic not
Okay.
playing well together?
So what you know is that it has been maybe thought of or romanticized that wild magic is the emotions of the universe. Wild and uncontrolled and crazy. Sometimes reflecting the things that are around it and sometimes absolutely not. But in all cases, wild magic sorcerers are often more emotional and can be brought to more extremes because of the magic that's in their blood. If that helps answer the question.
That helps, yeah. Spring is gonna kind of just like take a long breath out. Be like,
Okay, so maybe it'll be easy to lure this thing to us, right? We talked about having to fight monsters.
What if it's not? I mean, I know there's a vision of a monster, but the wild magic basically is the antithesis of magic. So it's like devours the law. Like
No,
somebody's that devours law, right?
it's not the
What if
antithesis. It's still a kind of magic. It's just
I didn't know the
a
right word, and
different.
I wanted to sound smart. You guys usually sound real smart,
You almost said
and
antithesis,
I'm a
right?
little drunk.
yeah.
I almost did. I almost did.
Wait, what were
There's-
you saying before though? What
Like
did you say?
the thing like devours the hungry for the law. Doesn't wild magic kind of
It breaks the rules.
yeah? So couldn't that be wild magic itself?
Hmm.
Maybe.
Causing this whole effect, and maybe not necessarily a creature, but I don't know.
Well, we've been
There's-
warned that there would be creatures. I
There'd
think.
be creatures.
Maybe they're creatures that are shaped by wild magic.
Yeah.
That seems like
Oh.
it's not out.
I feel like I
There's-
should have specified that I feel like these are warped. I don't know if they were the creatures that lived in like Aether, or if they're just proximally mutated by the effects of these seals or whatever's leaking from them.
I'll tell you what
Yeah.
they don't have: a scythe.
But there's
That is pointed scythe.
It's true.
Did he manage to
Hey.
point at Scythe? Or is this
I
something-
did. I
Slightly
think.
to the left.
Come on. A little mostly at scythe.
Okay.
I'm not smart enough to understand what you're saying.
Things that are nearby, they, hapless creatures that happen to be in the proximity of this mutating force, or if they were
Accidentally.
Sure.
Yeah, like the stories
Like-
we saw in the library.
like the dragnet.
but there's still seals, aren't there?
There are.
Could
They
they
don't
mutate
seem to be
us?
working
I don't
anymore.
want to be mutated.
I don't know if
I-
it's
I was
I was
prolonged
just thinking
exposure.
that, like, how long?
Oh,
yeah.
you have nothing to fear.
Would you'd fix me
He's
if I got
spoken for.
mutated?
I would. As
Good.
part of a deal.
Never mind.
But everybody, look, just hear me out for 1 second. It seems like probably Varian's team got the first seal, right? Like that would make sense, right? That like they're the ones that are after the seal. Is Varian like
Didn't
dredge
that
up
other
what
journal
is there?
person?
What?
Wasn't there that person with the journal that found the first seal?
There was a person with the journal, like theoretically with the Collegium, but like, was
Isn't
that
the
even the
seal
first?
we found?
Yeah, that's the seal that we found, but I don't think it was the first seal, right? Like, how do we know that that was
Oh.
necessarily the first one?
It's true.
We don't know.
Because
I don't think
we're-
it was Varian's group of
I
worshippers.
mean, because let's think about this, right? Like, it seems like we know that by proximity, like the proximity of the seal, weird stuff happens. Stuff gets suppressed, weird echoes show up, all this weird stuff happens because of. What if all the weird stuff that's happening on the seal that we got was because another seal had been taken up somewhere else first, and that's how people started seeing the divine magic kind of under the ground? Because if it's something that suppresses everything, then maybe it would have been suppressed the whole time until the first seal was moved, and this is
But
the
we know they
second.
haven't been functioning perfectly.
Do we?
The
Because of
after
the
effects
thing.
of their presence
Right.
did something to Aether.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe what I'm saying is that maybe the machine is working as intended.
Like it
You
was
know?
a slow pressure release.
Well, I think the machine. I don't think the machine. Like, if the machine really is the machine is maybe working as intended, and like it just happens that these people that built like a city in the midst of the machine got ground up by the machine by accident, not because like it was still a side effect. It wasn't
But
on
this
purpose.
happened a while ago.
Yeah, but the seals were ancient. That's what we found out, right? The seals
It's
were placed
true,
way before
but
the city was there.
But so you're saying, let me try to understand what you're saying.
I'm confused.
The
I
seals are
think
all
it's super
established.
obvious.
The seals were
A
established.
city is built.
Yes.
Weird things happen. Are you implying that a seal was removed and that's what? And
No. I think that the seals are supposed to be a net, right? They're supposed to keep something in. I still think that. I don't know if people agree with me about that. I still think they're supposed to be a ward or a net or something for the abyssal veil or whatever. And they were all in place. And while they were all in place, they created this weird interaction with stuff around them because they're doing their. And then people come in and they settle on top, and because of whatever is happening with the seals, it changes the atmosphere. And maybe that's the weft and maybe that's something else, but that machinery interacts with the city somehow. And it's maybe not the people's fault, but maybe no seals get sort of taken up or anything, and the city just gets all these visions because, like, oh hey, it's gonna make you crazy to live in this place because you're on top of this machine, and they live on top of the machine, and then the machine kind of eats them.
okay.
Okay,
And
but like,
then some treasure hunters find some treasure that happens to be a very powerful, and starts picking up those seals. And then we're maybe unleashing some down
So
from before.
you're thinking a disturbance in these seals that have been laid is what is causing our current issue.
Yes.
One has already been plucked. We
Yeah.
presumably have one thereafter.
That is yes, that is absolutely
I
what
think that's possible.
So here's my question. What does that change for us? Are you saying we should be fighting against Varian
I think
and
we
his
should be putting them
people?
back. I think we should be putting them back. I think picking them up is the wrong move. I think picking is going to unleash whatever they are very specific words. And if we take up too many, not only are we going to be messing with the balance of the ocean, but we're going to be letting out whatever was sealed in place.
I could pray about it. I don't know. Spring, I don't know if you're right and that we should be putting them back or if we should be removing them.
And like Varian wants to take them back and whatever. God,
We don't really know what Varian wants to do.
Well, Varian seems to want to have his souls back or something, and he seems to
I
think
don't think
that
that's
the
an
way to do
unreasonable
that
motivation.
Well, let's
It's
say
a
you're
non-
right. Let's say you're right, and it is a dragnet there to keep something in, some abyssal thing, probably. Like, that makes sense. And what happened is just a byproduct of that interaction. Maybe there's some leakage, like there's a fault tolerance in everything you build, right? Nothing is
Right.
perfect.
and
But
this thing is thousands of years old.
okay, so it makes sense then that Dragnet is also capturing the souls of whoever dies down there, and that's why Varian wants it gone. But my main question is, like, you're like, I'm following your theory and it makes sense, but like, it's not our choice.
What
I
if
know,
we made could you make a soul funnel?
What do you
Okay.
mean? What's that?
If you take a funnel
Suck them out.
and you put it, we put the seals back, but you put a funnel in so
I think
that
it's more likely that they forgot, so that's the real issue.
That
Oh,
the souls that have perished at sea have lost themselves
forgotten.
and therefore
Yeah.
cannot
Yeah.
find their afterlives. It's
You were
they don't know their names.
probably right. You said that, Scythe. You were probably right about that. That maybe they got caught in the dragnet of forgetting, and then they couldn't remember to go back to their gods.
What's happening?
If you don't know your name, there's a lot you can't do.
So you might be right, but it's
I don't know.
I
how-
suppose the thing that we are supposed to be doing, or should be relaying to the Mariguard uppers, the ones who tell us what to do, is which one is the one that causes the least amount of damage, or which one resolves the problem.
That's the thing, right? Is that, like, if we don't go after them, it seems like Persh is saying if we don't go after them first, Varian will, and then we should at least be the ones to go after them first. And there's no
But to what
way that we
cost?
can just say, there's no way we can just say, okay, but can we actually instead defend them and like try to slow everyone down and actually do some research about this? Because I don't think that Persh wants to have the Mariguard be responsible for releasing some like dark abyssal terror on the world.
We're working with incomplete information. Ultimately, we need to wait
Tabernac is
for
researching now,
Tabernac.
isn't he?
Exactly. We need to see what he says. We need to see what the Mariguard says. I would like to ask Calciox his opinion.
Tabernac is a dragon, and he loves artifacts. He wants to collect them.
He's
Do
a
you think he
wizard,
would
not an
use that to
idiot.
cloud his judgment in the decision here?
I don't think he's an idiot, but I do think he's a dragon. I think that perhaps he is a little biased in this matter.
That's a little essentialist.
I don't think that's fair. And I still think we should talk.
What?
to Paul.
I agree. Ring, I think your ideas are good. I don't understand most of it. I was listening really intently and nodding, but man,
I'm just saying you
Sorry,
should
what's up?
pitch Tabernac. You know what I mean? Pitch
What?
Persh. I don't
I
think
know
you're
you-
wrong. Just
I don't disagree with you either. I think we can't know right now with the information that we do have.
Yeah.
I think your
You got
logic
any
is sound,
feedback
but
for me?
what about what?
I just asked Turn, tried to whisper speak, do you have any feedback that could make me sound like I'm contributing? It's a whisper, but not very audible.
Was it in your head? I'm sorry.
No,
Did I-
no,
He's just
out
I didn't
loud.
even
out
hear
I
you.
did
loud.
it out loud.
to the
Out
room.
loud. It was a very Aryn to himself was like, Turn, is there anything I could say that would make me sound smart?
He doesn't realize he's speaking out loud. Silly bean.
You you actually hear just a chuckle. And
Damn
then
it.
she says, my advice would be wait until you have more information before you make a hard choice.
I don't think you were listening either.
I think she's giving you sound advice, but
can
I don't know that.
Assume whatever you need
Oh my
to.
god. Can Renata hear you too?
I've made a deal with her.
That was fast.
It's like the main thing Jen does.
Look
with
at her.
that warlock
Okay.
pictures.
Okay, she didn't help, but hold on, guys. I just want to get it. I gotta write this down. And Aryn pushes whoever's on the trunk to the side and opens it to get a beat up notebook. When he opens the trunk, there's scattered clothes, I won't lie. But there is a weird faint smell of oil and machinery. But
Ooh.
Oh.
Can I
And then
make
he
a
closed
perception
it
check
back
about that? My perception is very bad, but I'm gonna look anyway because I think that it's something that Spring wants to know
You
about.
didn't roll bad.
I'm curious too,
This is
but
up
Scythe is
to
drunk.
Aaron.
Yeah, this is up to
You would-
Aryn. This is totally up to you.
So I'm
yeah,
gonna
no,
roll
you
with
would
disadvantage.
you wouldn't see high enough though. You wouldn't see any machinery. The weird thing is you only see clothes and books and anything. The smell seems to be emanating from possibly from clothing or the books themselves.
Interesting.
Almost as if you spend time around that stuff. But it is odd that some of the clothing and stuff in there looks a little older. Like it
Do I
wouldn't
notice-
fit Aryn. Like it would not fit Aryn.
Do I notice any of the titles of the books with the 17?
Oh no, they're just books of his own war writings. Think of just emo kid poetry and random
Oh,
scribbles.
okay, like journals and stuff. Okay.
Yeah, but he has some that dates back. But he just grabs a frayed book that has just some crew drawings on the front and starts trying to jot down the stuff you guys said. It was more just the flavor of theirs. Yeah,
Gotcha.
there were clothes in there that were definitely. I'll say that they don't look like they would fit Aryn, and they look bigger.
Huh.
I will offer this piece of information.
Let me write it down.
There is no demon, by my research or those who I've spoken with, thought to be bound beneath Kylus Bay.
Okay, that you would know too, right?
Yes, I would.
Did you also? Did you see the mustache they drew on you?
I think I look
Pretty
good.
funny. You could rock a mustache. You definitely could rock a mustache. Sweet. Turd says there's no demons that she knows of that would be bound or devils.
Damn.
And I
Well,
think
there's
she's pretty
plenty of
reliable
aberrations.
source.
Other monstrosities.
She is a devil.
I can assure you, if we were aware of a demon locked in the abyss beneath Kylus Bay, we would ensure he stays there.
Yeah, good point. She said there's
Yeah.
no demons. Because
Yep.
they would, the devils would ensure the demons stay there if there was one
Right.
locked.
Yeah, they don't get
there.
along,
Yeah.
right?
They're not
Mm-mm.
fans.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I won't lie, she doesn't seem super invested in what we're doing.
That seemed fine. Yeah. I'm not gonna pray about it because I know what the answer would be.
I would like to.
What would the answer be?
The answer would be you can make a lot of plans and you can make a lot of theories, but when it comes right down to it, you're just gonna do whatever seems like the right thing in the moment with the information you have at hand.
Holy shit, I agree with Guy.
Sounds like good advice, actually.
It was well
Hell
put.
yeah.
It
I've been
comes
thinking
from
we need to do something for a hot minute.
A god said that?
I mean, it's maybe not said in so many words, but yeah.
Huh.
I didn't realize you were a follower of a god.
Well, it's pretty casual.
This is casual.
You can be a
relationship.
casual follower of a god?
Sure, you don't all have to be clerics. It's when you dedicate yourself that you become a cleric or a paladin.
Can you
don't-
follow a god if you make a pact with the devil?
Yes.
Probably.
Please. Here, that
I mean-
turn, I'm gonna have new friends.
Might run into a conflict of interest, but the
There-
gods
there-
don't usually ask things
There
of
may
you.
be
I
a conflict of interest.
I hope you do.
Guys, I will say this. I'm getting tired. Maybe we
That's
should
fair.
sleep on it?
Yep.
See what Tabernacle says, hopefully in the
Does
morning.
that work for you, Spring? Did you have...
Yeah.
Are you asking us
Something
over
else you
for a
wanted to-
sleepover right now?
Oh, I'm into it. I'm
Oh,
gonna sleep
he
with
might
this
be
Definitely
calling us
lady
asking
out.
for a
portrait.
sleep. How did you know that I was gonna say a slumber party?
Did we
I
just
know.
become best friends?
Guy, can we
Just a
go
feeling.
home?
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
of
guys-
course. I was kidding.
Oh, okay. Thank
We
you.
Slumber party!
Yeah,
And
you
then
guys
to
have
the
fun.
side, I pull the whiskey out and show her that I still have some.
Oh
Oh
no.
god. I'm gonna go back to my room.
Why? You don't want to hang out? Maybe
don't-
I'll tell you more about myself.
Oh no. Insight check, is he really going to? Is there a chance?
We're literally two drunk people sitting on the floor right now. Like,
This-
Girl, he would tell you anything.
He rolled
That's a natural 20.
a 26
shit.
versus a 26.
how do you
Okay.
Mine was a
use
disadvantage.
rollies? What is this? What
Oh,
are you
it
doing?
is at disadvantage.
So it was still
Oh.
it was a 26, but it was an 18 plus
I see.
26.
Okay. All right. So, with a tie, Aryn.
Who meets it?
So
Yeah, who beats it?
with a tie, it's confusing. Like you
Going
see
to the sudden
some
death round.
truth peeking through, but you don't understand exactly the context. So, Aryn, what does it look like if like someone catches you not telling the whole story, or
Look a little constipated.
Well, yeah, I think it's just like so he's a little drunk. So it's just like he's clearly got a slightly sarcastic face. He's trying to use humor to guise it a little bit, but there's
Mhm.
definitely
He's
enough
deflected.
sarcasm that it's like I don't want to tell her. I probably won't, but if I'm forced to, like maybe, I don't know. I'm gonna try to lie, but
I think
I might
when
tell her a thing.
Renata kind of processes his expressions and the implication thereof, she kind of just shuts her eyes briefly and then thinks to herself, I shouldn't push him. And she'll open her eyes again and say, I appreciate your offer, but I think I should spend my night in my room.
I used to be fat.
Oh. Is everyone
Some
still here? Or has
Yeah.
everyone died left?
I think so, and I don't think I realized that nobody else left yet. I'm just like, oh no.
Like Arya and Guy are at the door. Like, oh.
Okay.
And I wear glasses. And I pull
I-
my glasses out for reading.
I appreciate your vulnerability.
Enticed to hang out slumber party?
You want to hang out with me that badly that you would tell me this?
I want to all be friends.
I thought we were friends.
Did you not have friends before?
Wait, we are not really. Wait, there's a lot of talking. I think we should go to sleep. I'm gonna go to sleep now. I think there you go, Renata. You got your personal information. Slumber party. Slumber party.
It says, I used to be dead.
Okay.
It's getting dark. It's getting real dark in this room.
No, this is. I'm glad we're building. Good
Yeah, we're
night, Guy.
on.
Good night, Aria.
Bye.
The door's shut. Okay. I'll stay for a little bit. I need to pray first.
You pray before bed?
Well, I have a specific question in mind, but I mean, sometimes I just like to talk and tell Calciax about my day.
Will us talking interrupt? Should we be quiet, like whisper?
No, you can talk. Don't mind.
You used to be dead.
Sort of.
Oh, how does that work?
I mean, well, they had to put me in this body.
oh wait, I think I knew that, didn't I?
I died somehow. I don't know how.
Was it
And
shitty?
I don't remember. Probably though.
Oh.
I was dead at the time.
Yeah, that tracks.
But when they put me in the body,
Aryn,
I don't know.
roll me a D100 as she's talking. As she's talking, you hear she was betrayed.
I think Aryn gets a very somber expression. at
Was that
point,
Turn's
as she
That was
voice?
talks.
turn, yeah.
No.
So, Scythe would try to sober for a second. Turn, as I asked you how you died and if it was shitty, Turn just whispered to me you were betrayed.
You were?
Scythe's face goes almost completely blank. And that's hard because she's basically just eyes, and a lot of her emotion is expressed through the sort of brow area and the sort of glowy eyes because the mouth area is covered by the mask. And she just kind of sits there for a moment. And she says, "I don't remember."
I figured, but when she said it, she sounded like she knew. I don't think she's lying. So I wanted to tell you.
When they fixed me, parts of my soul, I guess, or my memory, they were lost. Does Turn think they were taken?
Turn, are you in a giving mood?
I can give you answers, but I require a task.
I'll do it.
Aw.
In the morning, I need you to write a secret you've never told anyone. Then I need you to burn it. Do not read it
Okay.
aloud. Do not show it to me. Just burn it.
But even stuff you don't know?
Yes,
But you know pretty much everything.
I don't.
I did a lot of talking.
You did.
Fine. Fine. Okay. I'll do it. This is in my head. I stopped talking out loud.
Sobering up.
Yeah, real fast.
When I noticed that you were getting friendly with this group of mercenaries, as adversely to your past, they have not always gone so well, I decided to do my own investigating, and I did perform a little bit of divining about your allies.
Okay.
The poor story of Scythe was one manufactured. She is the result of horrible villainy, even by my standards.
Oh, God.
I don't have the clean answers, because divination is messy at best. But I can give you that much. Were I her, I would be hungry for vengeance if I knew the truth.
So you're saying that what got her into that body is a result of some really heinous villainy
Oh, no,
and
no.
betrayal.
what got her into that body did it so they could control her.
Oh, shoot.
She was perfectly fine and whole.
Wait. She didn't need to go into the body when she went into the body?
Not a lick.
Oh,
God.
Jeez.
no.
Okay, Gratz, explain this to her now.
He just doesn't.
Scythe, I was writing while she was talking, and I was just getting some notes, and it just was like, Scythe, listen, I know you probably want answers, and I got some, but I'd really, really like to sober up before I explain them to you. Can we do that, or do you need to know
Doesn't-
right now?
Doesn't sound good.
It's not.
Is it the kind of thing that would go down easier not sober?
Maybe, but Scythe, don't take this the wrong way. You like breaking shit. And I only have this bed in the trunk, and there's not much else to break. I kind of need them.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can fix. No,
Okay.
you're fine.
Scythe,
You're probably right.
Scythe reaches over and puts her hand on her big gauntlet hand on top of Aryn's head, and she says, "I'm just guessing. I'm pretty drunk. I will respect your boundary."
Okay. Yeah.
Let's go to bed.
Yeah, let's get some sleep. We should get some sleep.
Do you still want me to stay?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I'm happy I was able to get some stuff, but I'm gonna have to, after we talk to Scythe in the morning, I have to go do something. The information wasn't free. But
That was very
Can
kind
I-
of you.
Help.
it's okay. No one can help on this one. It's fine. It's fine. Let's get some sleep. You guys can have the bed. Or I don't think you'll fit.
I'm okay down here.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys are settling in to try and take a long rest.
Mhm.
Yep.
Arya, Guy, you guys have been quiet. Is there anything you guys are doing before that happens?
Oh, I figured we were gonna go home and go to bed.
Yeah, we're leaving.
Okay,
leaving
that's
this
totally
They just
fine.
want to sleep with their own beds,
On the floor.
Yeah.
which is honestly smart after a certain age.
Fair.
I
Hey.
don't know
I
how old
mean-
they are, but
You don't have to be old to want to sleep in your own bed.
True.
I am going to roll a wisdom save
Okay.
to smash Aaron's things.
to see if she is able to sleep after that.
Sure.
Hmm.
Uh,
You gotta decide your DC before you roll.
I did, and I rolled the DC. So
Outspeed.
okay, so I guess she could sleep.
So you do sleep, but you have a nightmare.
That seems fair.
The nightmare that you suffer, Scythe, is one that feels almost as though you're living through somebody else's memory. And it's splotchy moments of terror, of anger, of surprise. But there's one instance that stands out to you extremely clearly. You're walking from one hallway into this grand room. And in the middle of the room is a table. That table has thousands of metallic parts on it. Parts of all shapes and sizes, round ones, square ones, bolts, screws, springs, and what has to be miles of this tubing. Looks like copper tubing, just spooled and spaghettied all over the place. You hear muffled voices, and you're trying to listen to them, and you look around the room, and as you're walking across the room, you feel someone shoving you in the back as you're not moving fast enough. And in the middle of the room, suspended from a pair of hooks, is an automaton. They're missing the lower half of their body. They are alive. Their face glows blue, but it flickers weakly. You get the semblance that whoever this automaton is, he's barely alive. But you see he gesticulates and points at the table as if he's giving commands? Directions. And a shadowy figure that you cannot... You're trying to look at this individual, but you can't. Your memory is almost like it's blocking him out. Picks up one of the pieces. And the last words you hear of this nightmare. Perfect. That's the last thing you remember before you wake up. And all of you can hit the long rest button.
Oh, I wanted to pray.
Oh, okay. No one hit the long rest
Sorry,
button.
Not that I think that will hinder your ability to rest, but
What are you praying?
before she does that, she will cast Enhance Ability on herself for wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And she will, grasp her holy symbol and get into kind of like a comfortable meditative position just on the floor of Aryn's room.
Mhm.
And she will pray to Calciox and she will say, Calciox, I seek your guidance on what to do. I know that there is trouble. I know that a balance has been affected, altered, broken. And we don't want to make it worse, we want to make it better. I know you can't always be straight with me, but is it right to return the seals to where they were? Or to replace them? Or to remove them completely? We're lost. Please help me.
Roll a wisdom plus proficiency check.
An advantage?
You did cast the spell that gives you advantage.
Good thing too. 24.
With a 24, you get the sensation of being out under the suns. Hard gravel and soil press and crunch beneath your boots as you are marching. Next to you, but though you turn your head in the room as you're praying and you don't see anything, but you feel the presence of Calciox nearby. He says to you, "There is much I don't know. There is much I do not understand. This is older than me. What I do know is that if no action is taken, things will break more than they already are. If you remove the seals, you undo what was done before I came to this place. If you fight to keep them there, the damage that's been done remains. If you find a way to repair them, I do not know. The souls might find their afterlife, they might not. Varian seems hell-bent on undoing this. In a time before mine, perhaps such things would have been blasphemous. Now, with more hands on the problems of your world, there might be more help to be had, and what problems were there might be lesser. Things have changed. But I cannot give you a good answer without information that I do not have.
I understand. I still think you've helped me.
I trust you will do what you think is right.
Always.
And as the sounds of marching fade away, you are back in Aryn's room. Whatever that means.
She's gonna do that thing where you like stay over at a homie's house, but they don't give you like a blanket or a pillow. You kind of have to make do. So she kind of like wherever Aryn and Scythe are passed out. Is Spring staying over or is Spring leaving?
The Spring's staying over.
We're on the floor. The bed is available.
Right, yeah.
Scythe is sort of, she's sort of deactivated like crisscross applesauce on the floor with her back to the bed.
Aryn just sitting on the wall next to her, trying to just like sleep against the wall.
Spring takes a blanket from the bed and puts it on Aryn.
Aww.
Do you want the bed, Spring?
The bed is big enough for both of us.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
Okay.
It's not you. You should take the bed.
Are you okay?
I'm fine right now.
Yeah, but you weren't before.
It's kind of like an old injury. It's the simplest way I can put it.
That's a hell of an injury.
Yeah. But the thing about injuries is you can't pass them to people. I would just rather be safe.
What?
Just a kind of a long-term issue I've been dealing with, but
Renata, take the bed. Please.
Okay. She will get in the bed. She will take her armor off first.
Spring has a bag of holding and lays out her bedroll.
Oh, that works. Renata loses a third of her body weight just taking off the armor and climbs into his bed.
Yeah, I suppose seeing Renata without her armor on is pretty uncommon. Spring, Renata's a waif. Like, there's
very
not
cold.
much to her.
Like a waif, like as in, okay, Spring is literally an armorer. She knows how fucking heavy armor is. It's pretty rare to see Spring with that too, and honestly, she doesn't even take it all off.
It doesn't make sense to you that Renata wears this heavy of armor.
Yeah, because she doesn't have the muscles for it, right?
I don't have any muscle.
That doesn't make any goddamn sense to Spring. Is it magical armor? The only thing she can think of is...
I don't think so. I think it's just full plate.
It's adamantine plate, but
okay, so
other
it
than
is.
It being adamantine, that's it.
It's not magical, but it is made of an exotic substance, and an exotic substance that makes it heavier.
Honestly, I think that Spring, I think that Spring is gonna like wait until she goes to sleep and then like investigate the armor as an artificer because she's very fucking curious. She's like, this has got to be the armor, right? It's got to be the armor.
It's very well made armor, but it is mundane in nature.
It's like, is it like adamantine?
Like a lightweight?
Yeah, like what is happening? like for context, Spring's strength is +4. Like. This is very strange to Spring, but she's not gonna pester her right now, but she's gonna file that away.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I assume you do eventually lay down for a long rest?
Yeah, she eventually is gonna poke around the arm.
If there's nothing else, everyone can hit the long rest button. And every one of you are awoken at like dawn. As you hear, I have made progress. Everyone, please come to the Wizard's Tower.
Oh. Yep. Oh,
Right,
I guess we're starting.
Yeah,
Okay.
Spring is
Can
up
I-
immediately.
Can Scythe and I follow you in about a minute?
I think
Sure.
she'd probably say yes if she was there.
Yes.
There you go.
Sorry, I'm just putting away chili. but I can hear you because I now own a headset.
Hey,
Away.
Okay. Renata will leave Aryn's room. After donning her armor again.
Okay.
all right. All right.
You're right.
So
Now, before we get into this, before we get into all the details of what's about to happen with Tabernacle and also possibly with Scythe and Aryn, we're going to go ahead and take a 5-minute break.
Yay!
Okay.
All right, we're back. It's the morning. You've all heard a summons from Tabernacle. And one wonders, you had something you wanted to say to Scythe? Aryn,
yeah.
you ready?
So yeah. So after everybody leaves, I'll close the door and just go over to Scythe and try to get. I'm actually gonna sit on the bed and be like, so I asked Tern last night if she knew anything about you, and she did, and it wasn't good. I know she said you were betrayed, but and the wording's a little brown. I'm so sorry, but she said that your creation was a result of villainy that even upset her, and that you didn't really need to go into that body. You're kind of forced into it by someone who wanted to control you. I think
Scythe
that's the
doesn't say
gist.
anything for a really long moment. She's just standing there. I was stolen. Murdered.
I think so. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
I'll give you a minute with this if you want. I gotta go pay my debt on the way up anyway. So
I will not forget.
yeah, don't worry about it. It's fine.
I will not forget.
Yeah, I know. You're fine.
I am not.
Well, I
Fine.
mean, it's more of a colloquial expression, like "don't worry about it." But yeah, no, I know you're not. I'm gonna
understand.
leave. I'm gonna give you a moment. I feel real awkward now.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
This is not.
Mm,
I
Do
will not. It's all right. I will see you soon.
people have vulnerable conversations? Oh, this feels. Yep. It just turns on his heel and
That's
walks
why I'm
out the
up to it.
door. And then I'll go take care of my secret that I have to burn before I go to Tabernacles.
As you burn that secret, once it is gone, ash and ember in the air before you, the weight of it, heavy on your soul, is a little lighter. You still remember it. It's still there. But it doesn't anchor you to the ground quite as much.
Ed Turn says nothing during this whole process?
As soon as it is burnt and gone, you hear, "Thank you."
Thank you.
I don't know how that truth will affect your friend, but I suspect she will never look at you the same way again.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
It's growth. Character growth.
I guess that's good.
It would have been worse if you had tried to deceive her.
I wouldn't. Not about something like that. I've kind of had my fill with lies and deceit.
Good.
What do you mean, good? You love that shit.
Aryn, I am a devil. We do not lie.
Deceit, though, is a slightly different thing.
That is the charlatan's way of saying lie.
Manipulate?
We do manipulate.
Through half-truths?
There is nothing half.
Okay, yeah. Am I done now? Can we not talk about this anymore?
I had no
Ever
intention of speaking it ever again anyway.
Oh, good. Good. I'm gonna go now.
I'm not leaving.
I know. He says it and starts walking and realizes, like, shit, I can't
his
like
brain
leave.
out.
I can't leave this conversation.
As you wish. I do have certain individuals I must entertain. Do you ask a question? It sounded like you're about to.
I just said no. I thought about it, and then I think Aryn was like, "Nah, it's really early in the morning. You know, like, not the time. Haven't even had breakfast."
Scythe, how you doing?
Scythe steps out of Aryn's room, and she very slowly, carefully closes the door behind her so that it doesn't make a sound. Just slow motion shuts the door, starts walking down the hall. First, she doesn't really know where she's going. She walks for a while, and she finds that she is heading towards the barbarian classroom where she trained here.
Okay.
She's already raging before she goes through the door.
It is dawn, so the only individuals who are up and about are the golems that patrol the halls of the Mariguard Academy. As you enter the barbarian classroom, it is empty. You were the only one in here.
Are there dummies or objects or...
Yes. Very
Basically,
much so.
it's just completely just wrecking the shit out of everything in here. Just attacking a dummy and just obliterating it. Just raging. There's no like hyper rage, but just completely losing herself in physical violence.
Sure.
At some point, she's probably also screaming, but she's not just roaring at the top of her voice.
Okay.
Just like rage plode, basically.
Yeah. As you're working through this, roll me a wisdom save.
$17?
17. As you are basically just letting everything vent out of you, what's going through your mind?
Scythe is remembering the first time that she tried to reach for her power and found nothing but rage. And she didn't understand it. She didn't understand it as more than a sense of loss of what was, and now it is coming into focus as rage because what she was stolen from her. And it's as though the anger that has powered her all this time is crystallizing into something more than it was. It's not just empty, angry. Before she was she knew she was pissed. She knew that there were vast gaps in her memory, but the connection wasn't there that connected the rage to the vast gaps in her memory. And now she feels more directed. She feels both more powerful and more helpless because she understands that this was done to her. This didn't just happen.
Fine, like knows she has somebody to be mad at.
Besides herself,
Mhm.
which was where a lot of it was directed before.
I think
this dummy is not surviving the next
No.
couple of minutes. This, I think, is basically what's happening. Just like
in the middle of your vent session, the door in the back of the room opens, and the barbarian instructor, Makito, does enter. But he sees you going through it. And he does not interrupt you. Because if there's anybody who understands emotional rage, it's the barbarian instructor.
yeah.
How long do you think Scythe rages for? How long do you think she's just beating the hell out of these canvas and burlap dummies?
I'm gonna say she, looking at my sheet here, I'm gonna say she burns through 2 of her rages. Just for the day, just burns them out. So let me just mark those off. And I think that would mean about, what is it? Numbers. Okay, it's just up to, so it's only actually like 2 minutes straight of brutalizing. But that's still a lot of rounds. That's 20 rounds, so yeah.
That's a long time to be doing violence.
Yeah.
It's a long time to be doing violence, but I think she needed it, so I think that's about right.
Yeah.
So, as
And afterwards, she's just kind of standing there like,
with this memory, with this truth taught to you, knowing this, you gain the Savage Attacker feat.
Ooh.
Oh shit.
seems
Aw.
okay. I'll write that
At
down.
least you got something for your trauma.
Yeah, that's like mechanically good and also so.
I would love a reward
Oh wait,
system for
I already
trauma.
had the Savage Attacker feat.
Then you can pick something else.
Okay, I'll just add something. I'll figure it out.
Okay. Meanwhile, in Tabernac's classroom,
Where
where did it go? I've lost his classroom.
Oh.
I'm just gonna add Great Weapon Master
That works.
because we'll just, and it doesn't really matter which one it is. It's I think it does the same.
It works.
Yeah.
All right.
Except I want to
Got the
find
right
the one that's
vibes.
not from the new one.
I would like to state for the record that even though Spring isn't like privy to all the stuff that went down last night between the two of between that conversation, she very specifically is getting clava and pastry for Scythe, like that she has on hand for whenever she joins them.
Okay, so all of you were summoned to Tabernac's Tower, like at dawn.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think Scythe is gonna make it.
Understandably.
Guy and Arya.
Guy and Arya just sprinting
I mean, they don't
I think
sprint.
mine only took like a couple minutes. I told Scythe
Yeah.
and was kind of
casually.
Yeah, she's just not. She could totally do it, like physically. She's just not there. Headspace.
Yeah.
They could
Yeah.
explain it
Take
to her
notes.
later.
All right, so everybody but Scythe shows up, basically. Let me go ahead and place you. And Spring, you're carrying trolley cakes right now?
No. Just like she'll just go to the, because there's usually there's that little breakfast bar sort of situation, right? Like at the
Oh, at the mess
like
hall.
at
Yes, you can absolutely get
mess
yourself
hall.
some
Yeah,
food.
she's not going out of the academy. She's just
So-
doing
It is pre-dawn, or rather, it's dawn, so it's pre-actual breakfast. So the
Oh,
golems
got it.
have laid out bagels. You can eat a
Got
bagel if you need something.
I was
Man, I
looking
want a
for
fucking
pastries.
bagel.
There are no pastries, but I will grab.
No, it's before actual breakfast. The golems have not gotten there yet.
Got it. Okay.
I
In
want a
which
bagel
case,
so bad.
If you'll recall, meal times at the Mariguard Academy are 6 in the morning, 12 in the afternoon, and 6 in the evening.
Mm.
Anyway,
No midnight snacks.
well, there's always stew or bread and cheese and stuff out, but actual meal times. Anyway, as you all enter Tabernac's classroom, with the exception of Scythe, you see Tabernac is at the actual library tables at the top of the classroom, and he has a chalkboard set up, and books and parchments spread out all over the tables. And as you enter, he's in human form. That is what he looks like in human form. A very human-like half-elf with a balding head and spectacles. As all of you enter. Oh, you're early. Good. Or right on time, technically. There are theories on whether time converges near points of truth. But I digress. I have isolated the likely coordinates of the next abyssal seal. Finally, hours of combing, arcanic drag residue, prayerstone echoes, soulstream turbulence, yes, and a minor scry burn on the third vertebrae. But look! And he gestures to a chalk diagram resembling a mandala made by a caffeinated spider. You see, the seals emit not just raw energy, but harmonic dissonance, soul stuff interference, patterns. Most people cannot detect them, but the curator can. Using the curator and the medallion you recovered, I triangulated the resonance swell. It appears the next seal lies within the western sweep of Kylus Bay. Here. And he gestures onto a map that you suddenly realize is on the table around you. Rough waters, jagged shoals, unnatural mists, classic hiding place. Oh, and there's a geomantic drop-off in the soul stream currents right at the point of convergence. Something wants to stay hidden. Or buried. And he smiles a very dragon-like smile, even though it's on a human face. And he just, looks at all of you. Any questions?
Yes.
You, Renata.
Thank you. Yes. So I prayed about this last night to see if Calciox could give me maybe more of a direction on how we should handle this problem.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't know everything, obviously. He's not omniscient, but in his opinion, removing the seals undoes whatever they're supposed to be doing. I feel like that's obvious.
Yes.
Which could be bad, is what I'm trying to say. And putting them back and keeping them as they are doesn't fix the damage that's already been done. So, I suppose his advisement is that there a third option, maybe finding a better solution to accomplish the same goal that these seals were put in place.
can we fix them?
The problem is we don't know
Yes.
their original purpose.
All of the historical
Right.
stuff that I found yesterday at the library was about how they're wards. Ancient.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to me if we break all of the wards, we're setting up for unleashing something that we don't know. And that is concerning.
Well, the problem, as I see it, and the problem that has drawn Varian and his, henchmen, minions, to this trouble is that these
Worshippers.
individuals who are perishing at sea are not getting to their afterlife. Am I correct?
Is it everywhere
Right.
at sea or just in Kylos Bay? That's what I don't understand.
We need to research this.
Because if it's everywhere at sea, then that seems like something that maybe is breaking the seals for. But if it's just in Kylos Bay, I feel like that warrants slowing down a little bit.
I think a likely answer to this question
Figure
is
out what
maybe
we're
we should
saying.
have a conversation with a follower of Tysus, as they might know the answer to that one.
Do we have any of those at the academy?
I don't know. I'm not the cleric instructor.
Hmm?
That's not my problem. Perhaps you should, do your jobs as mercenaries and go find the answer.
Would you be able to, with more information, of course,
Hmm.
to help us devise a way to replace this mechanism with something more substantial?
I would need to know what these abyssal seals are doing. I need to know what it is that they are attempting to hold back, what they're trying to ward, what they're trying to contain. It is clearly something that required magical artifacts strong enough to last literally millennia. And as far as records show, the only things capable of that are artifact-level magic items.
So we do know one thing it does, which is it twists and mutates the living creatures that end up hanging out around it. Have you got any idea on like the timetable on that? Like, are we safe? Should we be asking for hazard pay?
Does it do that, or does the thing
PPE.
it contains do that?
I'm curious about that
Materially, the answer wouldn't change. Right? Like,
I imagine your short-term exposure, just being a few hours at a time, I doubt any of you could be mutated by any more means than perhaps some weirdly colored hair, or that sort of thing. You have my word that if any of you are turned into a weird thing, I will do my best to fix you.
Okay.
I feel confident with that.
My best is quite good, Aryn. I realize you might not know my proficiencies.
I know a couple of your proficiencies.
Hmm.
You're excellent at speaking for prolonged periods of time.
I'm flattered. It is one of my
Right.
strongest.
So,
Yes.
you've pinpointed the nearest seal.
Yes, right. So,
That's the expectation here.
all of you are going to go speak with Persh. He's going to assign your next mission regarding this information. I've given him a quick rundown, though you obviously have the juice of it. Once you've had a conversation with him, he's likely to send you out on the same ship that you once ventured out with. I'm going to give you a scanning device, I suppose. It is a scrying stone that allows you see the sea floor. It is, in my opinion, likely safer than using a dive bell to swim all the way down, dealing with whatever you find, and then swimming back. However, I warn you, these magical eddies and currents that I've been hearing about might interfere with the scrying stone. So it's not a perfect solution, but it is something.
Yeah.
Which of...
Talus's dredger was talking about the wild magic and something being hungry for laws and the tides not responding to the moon in the sea.
What is a dredger?
Oh,
Strange things.
you know,
Yep, he's the paladin
of Varian.
of Varian,
Very.
Oh.
the champion.
He marched out of the sea to tell us this, so I feel like he felt it was like important intel, so I'm just passing it along.
That is good to know.
Arya?
He wasn't the champion?
He wasn't the champion. Talus was the champion. He was one of the
You said he
companions.
was the paladin, right? I don't know
Paladin.
their rank. Do you know their... Yeah, I don't know how it works. Anyway.
It is so
Yeah, I'm
beyond
not
me.
actually sure who this... We'll meet them again, probably, and then we can ask.
I imagine the caste system of this particular group of henchmen for Varian does not actually matter in the long run. If you're-
Worshippers.
Sorry, worshippers.
We might not
No,
agree with them,
probably
but
not.
I suppose they are due a modicum of respect. Where
They're
is
doing what they think is right,
your...
just like we are.
Where is the tall one?
He needs a minute.
Then I trust all of you can just relay this information as it is required. So, that is the end of my briefing. Here is the scrying stone. Whichever one of you is perhaps the most adept at looking for the infinitesimally small.
Spring will hold her hand
Spring.
out for it.
You are handed a scrying stone, and it looks like a blue crystal set into... It literally looks like a blue crystal just smashed into a spyglass.
Oh, okay, cool.
I made this.
Spring appreciates the artist, the mechanism of it,
Hmm.
and the arcane like mechanism, and puts it in the bag of holding.
I admit I am very curious as to what you find out there in the western sweeps. So, if you would not mind, I would require that as soon as you find anything, a transcription parchment addressed to me would be delightful. Do you require more?
We have 9 sheets right now.
That should suffice.
Yes. I wanted to ask, is there anything in particular we should be looking around? That
What do
you
you
think?
mean?
Any signs with the scrying stone?
Well, these abyssal seals were set into the ocean floor thousands of years ago. And so you're going to be looking for old, weathered, deteriorated mounting points, locations that maybe were ritualistic in description, but the fact that the ritual is so old, they might be unidentifiable by that appearance. So you're going to be looking for the small details, things that look like they may have once been a structure thousands of years ago, before they were eroded by the currents of the crystal ocean.
All right.
I am pretty confident as to these coordinates. I've given Persh the accurate map, and you can provide it to Captain Naga, who I believe is who you're working with.
It is.
Good. Oh, and bring warm clothes. The storms there have a tendency to peel sails and sanity alike.
Are we getting more
sanity?
water potions?
Yes. And yes.
Is there anything we should be doing in particular to protect our sanity?
Well, I believe the western peals of Kylus Bay, which are generally seen as no-sail zones, exist because they are near a ley line to Pandemonium. So,
Oh,
just be careful.
okay.
Be careful
Yeah.
and, earplugs.
Okay. Earplugs.
Mm-hmm. That is a simple device. I'm sure you can find those at Secca, or you can make them
Absolutely.
yourself.
Absolutely.
Doesn't work on the actual plane of Pandemonium, but it's filtered through the veil, so I'm sure you'll be fine.
All right. Good to know.
Mm-hmm. Off we go.
Off we
Off
go.
we go.
Renag watches you leave. Out of curiosity,
Warm clothes.
what is everybody's just surface thoughts at the moment? Starting with Aryn.
Aaron's surface thoughts are he's trying to use his concern for Scythe to blot out his thoughts about the secret because he tries not to think about it.
Okay.
But he's more just concerned for his friend and really anxious to go fuck something up.
Okay, good. Don't worry. Arya, what's going through your head right now?
She's thinking about how she needs to make sure that the bag of mice is available.
Yeah, I was wondering about the bag of mice.
Okay.
Are they still on her right now?
Yes.
It's that weird shifting lump
Good.
in her coat. Guy.
Guy is thinking up. He's thinking about what they're likely to find. So what he's really doing is like dreaming up twisted, abyssally mutated sea monsters, and kind of getting scared, but also like these are pretty rad. Like Kept making them have kaiju battles in his head a little bit.
That's so cute.
Okay. Renata, what's going through your head?
Renata's, I guess, primary thought is, oh, I just hope we're doing the right thing. I hope we can figure out how to do the right thing. And beneath that is, I feel like I didn't explain myself to Spring well last night, and she thinks it like I didn't want to sleep in the bed with her, but that wasn't the issue. I just don't know how to convey this without being weird. And it's more just kind of like
Damn.
stammering.
Sea monster?
Just stammering to herself in her
Yeah.
head. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Spring, what's going through your head?
Spring is primarily frustrated with how uncomfortable earplugs are. And it is like thinking about like, okay, here's how I'm gonna build earplugs that will actually be okay to wear, because she is very concerned about like she's concerned about how flippantly he was like, ah yes, wear the warm clothes, and did not like kind of casually mentioned the sanity. And this is like a big fear for her, is like not having control of her faculties. So she's like on one hand annoyed that they're earplugs, and on the other hand like very, very focused on earplugs.
Yeah. I mean, so as you're leaving, you remember that Tabernac is a brass dragon, and his priorities might not be the same as yours.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she's fully aware.
All right, so as you guys leave Tabernac's classroom, Scythe, I think at this point you probably have destroyed several dummies.
Yeah.
And then Makito, like, has finally stepped up, and he says,
Have you worked through it?
I'm not sure it's possible, but I think I've at least found a new place to stand.
Every hill seems like a mountain from the bottom.
I thought I died. I don't know what I thought. I really don't. But it turns out I was murdered.
Do you know by who?
Not yet.
If you want to. If you want to learn that. You're gonna have to accept that once you know, there won't be any rest. You won't be able to sleep or think of anything else.
I feel that truth, but I may have already walked this path far enough that I have no other choice.
Just make sure it doesn't hurt you anymore.
It will hurt someone else a lot worse.
he kind of gives you, like, just a tilt of the head, like, fair.
Your duty as contractors to your team.
Yes.
Your team's duty as contractors is to you.
I know they will stand with me. I wouldn't have come this far without them.
It's important to remember that. It's okay to be angry.
It had better be.
There's more than anger. There's fury, there's rage, there's pain, there's hurt. You're right to be upset. You should use it.
I think I will.
Makito, which he's done this before many times. Come here. And he offers you a hug.
Aww.
Scythe will hug him.
It is.
It's very sturdy.
Yeah. Makito's hug is. It's almost a bear hug.
as he wraps as much of his arms around you as he can. He holds you tight and close. And then he lets you go and he says, "Stay alive."
She thumps his back and says, "I'll see you later."
That you will. I think you would emerge from the barbarian classroom, which is to the right of Persh, so you're literally emerging right as the party is coming down the hallway. For convenience
Oh,
sake.
hey. Hey, Scythe.
Hey.
As you're, like, suddenly, like, all of you are aware that the Mariguard Academy has tools in place to separate those of the students from the contractors visually. And then suddenly, you are shoved aside by a Minotaur. And she says, "Out of the way!"
Who shoved who? The Minotaur shoved who?
The Minotaur just kind of, like, bowls through all of you. You all realize she didn't see you. And then suddenly is just bowling through all of you. It's a Minotaur that's like 8 feet tall. She has a huge great axe across her back, and she just like looks at all of you, surprised that you're there, but she's immediately hiding it with a, "You're in my way, move."
Sorry.
Okay, legs. Damn.
Okay.
And she like very bull-like snorts and goes into the barbarian classroom.
Scythe, for like half of a second, looks like she's thinking about making something happen about that. But then she doesn't, because that's a student.
We call
that
that a bait. Okay. You
That's bait.
That's the meme, thank you. All right, so you guys have kind of like regathered, and Persh's desk is literally like 20 feet away. But do you talk to Scythe about what Tabernacle said, or does Scythe that you talk about anything, or do we move on?
I mean, someone more eloquent than me can fill her in.
I mean, Scythe said hey when Guy greeted her, but she doesn't look like she's. I mean, she looks like Scythe. What am I gonna
Well,
say?
I mean, like, Guy probably notices something's a little off, but also, like, they're right in front of Persh, so he's just like, okay, so, you know, we saw Tabernacle, and he told us he's got the pretty good coordinates for the next seal, and we're going to be heading out, apparently, to the western sweep of Kylus Bay, with a ocean floor monitoring device and hopefully some warm clothes.
Sounds useful.
Also, earplugs. I'll make sure everyone has some.
And water breathing potions.
Do we have time to ask Folly about the ocean?
I don't see why not.
I think it would be smart to also, Renata, can you figure out the Tysus thing? You know gods better than I do.
I can ask Treat, sure.
I'm sure we'll have time after Persh tells us the details before we take off, right? Right, Persh? Probably?
Right.
He's like looking at you all, waiting to see what you're doing.
I'm including him so that we can.
I'm ready to go.
That's good to hear.
Oh, a couple things. First,
Oh, on your time.
are you being sarcastic?
No. By all means, Renata, whatever it is you have to deal with before I give you my briefing, take your time. No rush.
Is he being sarcastic?
No, I think so.
Yes.
He is.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, I know somebody who's really good at
What were you
reading
gonna say, Persh?
Scythe. Is he being sarcastic?
Persh would probably like to give us our briefing so that he can get back to work.
I think, yeah, okay, he's sarcastic.
As always, as insightful as ever. Thank you, Scythe.
I'm here to help.
I know.
You're like Baymax, but more violent.
Right, so, in case it wasn't clear through the chalk frenzy, Tabernacle's found the next seal. The western
south.
sweep of Kaila's Bay. Not precise, but close enough to draw a grid.
He pulls out like a chart and he lays it out on his counter, and he's like gesturing for all of you to approach.
Yep.
I go lean over it.
He points to a grid square and he says,
You'll be sailing there. The Water Witch is already prepped. Captain Naga and Albie are still aboard, and they know the waters well enough. You need to run the search from sea level. Eye on the surface, spells into the depths, that sort of thing. This is not a retrieval mission yet. I know Tabernac said one thing, but I'm telling you another. Your job is to find the damn thing. Locate it, document it, hold position. Do not disturb it unless absolutely necessary. If you make contact with Talus or any of Varian's other champions, you ought to use judgment. Don't start a war, but don't let them take it. And remember, every moment we're ahead is leverage. The Collegium doesn't know what they're holding, what this information is. They don't know what we're after. Varian's folk don't know what they might be unleashing. We don't know either, but we are the only ones asking the right questions. You depart within the hour. Report anything unusual.
Oh.
Okay.
and he just kind of sits back.
Seka has
Thanks,
water breeding potions waiting for you.
Great. Thank
One
you.
apiece. You're welcome.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna go get
Right,
some
I gotta go
warm clothes and go do that.
Can
That
someone
can
pick
be
up
great.
some warm clothes for me while I try to treat?
Yes, that seems wise.
We
Aryn,
can expedite these things.
Yes.
will you come with me?
Yes. Where are we going?
Talk to Folly.
Yes.
Oh. You should talk to Folly first.
Okay,
He's sorry, Echo.
hang on.
I'm creating problems.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It just means I have to dig up some stuff from the annals of history, basically.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute.
Annals of history.
I knew you were going to say it. I saw it coming.
That was my chuckle. I was like,
The light
Aiden.
at the end of the tunnel is an oncoming train.
Yep, and it hit me. Okay,
Usually does.
a moment while I search for this lost scene. Holy cow. Here we go.
Been a while since we did druid shit.
Yeah, no kidding. No one makes druids. Okay. So, first, Scythe and Aryn, you go to speak to Folly. Okay, hold on. Let me...
While he's doing that, just on the walk, I would probably very short be like, "Yeah, all right." The Scythe, of course.
I will be.
I'm just saying, if you ever plan to fuck some shit up because of it, you know I'm in, right?
Oh, I do.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Good.
You know the way to Folly's classroom, and as you open the door, both of you are immediately blasted with the smells of beautiful flower nectar and clean water. Aryn, you've never looked in this room before, and it doesn't make sense to you that it's here. But,
Bold of you to assume that anything has ever made sense to me.
well, here's another one. As you look in the druid's classroom, you see there is a tall, blonde-haired Firbolg, who is kind of lounging about against the tree. He has what looks like a teapot on a small fire next to him. And as you enter, well, hey!
It is great to see you again, Scythe.
Why did you bring me here, Scythe?
That guy is high.
Why?
I love Folly.
I need you here for
Okay.
this.
Okay, I'm gonna be quiet.
We
Quiet.
have
Oh,
not been acquainted, and I need to know. Who are
Do
you?
you? Do you need to know? Okay.
This is my
I'm
friend
Aryn.
It's a
Aryn.
pleasure, Aryn. I'm Folly Clearwater. I'm the Druid instructor here at the Mariguard. It's a great gig. Get my own little pocket of the Beastlands. It's beautiful. You're welcome to spend any time you want here. Used to be the Feywild. We had some problems with barriers, boundaries. Now it's the Beastlands, but
Super
it is what it is.
Mhm.
So,
Boundaries are important.
yes, they
Scythe,
are.
Scythe had a thing. Scythe had a thing to ask.
Oh, sure. Can I get you a cup of tea or anything?
The less time I spend, the better. Don't want to keep you from your stuff here. It looks like you got a lot going.
I do. Yeah. Yeah. So,
To turn in my head, I'd be like, this guy's a jackass.
what can I do for you, Scythe? You have a question?
I do. We met with a paladin of Varian last night, and he told me that the ocean is not communicating with the moon, the tides aren't working correctly, and if the world is out of balance, can you tell me if you are feeling that from the ant?
Well, first, let me say thank you for bringing that to my attention. Feel like most would have just gone to Treat to talk about Varian or something. Really appreciate, reaching out to little old me. Let me tell you, especially around here, the world's been feeling a little out of whack. Balance is askew. Things are a little unpredictable right now. Now, I don't know about the opinions of a paladin, a variant, or whatever. I don't really know what it means to talk to the moon, because the moon uses gravity to pull upon the ocean, and that's what creates tides. You know what I mean? So
That's what I thought. So how could the tides ignore the moon?
The only way that could happen is if there was a more powerful force than a cosmic gravitational field, which strikes me as unlikely. But if there were something that strong that could overwhelm the tide, the pull of the moon, or the pull of the twin suns, if Pyrrhus and Tyrrhus weren't doing their job, and the moon wasn't doing their job, the ecosystem would be absolutely messed up. And that's bad times for everyone. A lot of fish, a lot of sea life, they rely on the tide. A lot of crabs and crustaceans rely on that to know when they're going to be able to eat anything. And without the tide, or rather, with a strange tide, fish are going to start dying, starving to death. And that's bad news for everything on land. If something that powerful's happening, well, I'd want to get to the bottom of it right quick.
Well,
I don't remember
think
what your question was. Was that close?
It was, but I think Tabernac is researching the thing that might be happening.
That must
But I
be
don't
why
know.
he missed the staff meeting last night.
I'm not sure what we can do to help the ocean.
Well, if there is something powerful enough to be altering the tide, it's got to be something that isn't just localized, but affecting the entire world of Anth all over. It's not, it
So
can't
not just
be.
Kylus Bay.
Probably not. That wouldn't. Why Kylus Bay?
Because that's where the seals were.
The what?
There are these seals. I don't really understand it. But there are these seals at the bottom of Kylus Bay, and they got messed up.
Seals.
Not like the animal. The other kind of seal.
I understood. I did not think you meant actual seals.
I'm sorry, I wanted to be clear.
No, I appreciate it. Clarity and understanding is important for conversation. Let me think for a moment. And I'm rolling for folly.
Bryce is having an aneurysm.
No, that's Aryn. I'm doing everything that I feel like Aryn would be doing, watching this conversation, just like, mm-hmm. Yep.
You could just take this offline with Tabernac. Circle back.
Okay. Interesting. So, do you know the story of feather ships in the first Oak Feather Groves?
I know. I don't know if Scythe would know that. I know it, but I'm going to. What about the oak feathers? What about them?
Well, I'm a Clearwater, and part of the rich oral traditions of the Clearwater family came from feather tree tenders. Some of my oldest ancestors were the first people to pull feather trees out of the dirt and give them the air of the skies. And it's something I'm really proud of. It's not something that ever comes up very often. The fact that you're bringing up Kylus Bay makes me think of some old curse that we were talking about when I was a kid. Stories about the curse of the dreamer. They were talking about feather trees that would be corrupted with these strange ideas. Memories that didn't have any business being in a tree, right? Like, you commune with the plant and the tree's telling you about when it was a kid and burning alive. That doesn't make any sense. None of the feather groves ever burned. These memories weren't theirs, is what I'm saying. And it only happened whenever a feather tree sailed over Kylus Bay.
Whoa.
They called it the curse of the dreamer because it was like these feather trees were dreaming of lives of people. But that wasn't possible because feather trees didn't really dream. It's not like thought like you and I might have, like we'd have cogent thought about like one thing after the other, understanding abstracts and etc. Feather trees, they don't really get that. They're just like, this air tastes good. Oh, I bet that air tastes better. So we go that direction. That's kind of how they think. It's not really thought, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
If there's something going on in Kylus Bay, something powerful enough still to alter the tide, and that's new, something has changed recently to make this isolated event suddenly much bigger. You have any idea what maybe that could have been?
Yes, I think that the seals being dislodged and the souls not getting through might be impacting the balance of Anth.
All right. So that tells me whatever has changed is making things worse. And either the change needs to be completed or the change needs to be undone so things go back to how they were. Could see Anth right now as
the curse of the dreamer has been happening for over Kylus Bay for centuries, right?
Yeah, anytime. Well, no, that's not necessarily true. I heard those stories about my ancestors when I was a kid, and I'm about 115 years old. That was a long time ago. Generations, right? The first feather trees, they were 3 millennia ago, 4, a long time ago. And for a long time, that was the only way to have an airship, was to be on a feather tree. And well, good for the world on things changing. Change is good. But whatever's happening now, if the Curse of the Dreamer is back, or whatever, maybe Anth needs to finish that change. If it's been trying to all this time.
All right.
You sure you don't want some tea? I got plenty. It'd really soothe the nerves. You look tense. And you don't even have muscles that I can tell, but you look tense.
I got some bad news. But we're leaving in less than an hour.
Yeah, we really gotta go.
Okay.
I would, when there's time, I would like to come back.
You're always welcome. Folly Sanctuary is Scythe Sanctuary, of course. And Aryn, you're invited as well. You seem like a good person.
Thank you, Folly.
Of course.
Thanks. Scythe is going to turn to go, and she's going to kind of weight her hand on Aryn's back and like herd him with her back out of the sanctuary again. And once the door closes, she's going to just she's going to squish him. Gonna give him a little hug.
Oh, I get a hug?
Mm-hmm.
Completely unprepared for the
hug. She does not say a thing. Just completely all expression through physicality. No words, no change of facial expression. Just, this is happening now.
Yeah, I think he would be limp at first, and then when he realizes what's going on, he's going in. He's going back in on the hug. I don't think he can reach very far around.
Yeah, she's quite
Scythe,
big.
But it's like a prom photo from the front, essentially. I feel like I'm getting just to like
That's
the
hilarious.
sides.
Okay. As that is happening, you guys have this interaction with Folly. I'm sorry, it takes me a minute to get back out of the character that is Folly.
That's totally fair. Folly is a lot.
He's the best.
I love him.
What is everybody else doing? Renata, I know you said you're going to try and talk to Treat. Spring, you're going to try and make earplugs. You have sailing to do, so you could do that on the voyage. You don't have to do that now if you don't want to. Also, Arya and Guy, you guys were talking about going to get clothes? Am I inventing that? I'm trying to figure out who's doing next.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, we were just gonna go pack appropriately.
Okay. You can do that. You don't have to RP that if you don't want to. You can just say you get the things that you need for the voyage. Spring, is there anything you want to bring?
I mean, I think if I will volunteer to, like, especially if we kind of divide up the chores, like Spring will get all the stuff she needs to get. She'll get a basic set of warm clothes. And then she'll pick up she'll kind of pick up our requisitions from Sekka. However, if there is any Banasite on hand that she can just have for crafting while they're sailing, she would take some Banasite if there's any on hand.
You can buy it. Widget would not be like, yeah, you can just have it. No, Widget would be like,
obviously she'll pay for it.
How much do you want to buy?
Like 150 gold worth.
Widget would have that, so yeah, you can buy that much.
Great.
Okay. Right. What happened to my... Okay.
And she'll pick up all the water breathing potions. I don't know if there's anything else requisitioned for us, but she'll pick them up and pass those out.
Yeah, that's fine. As you guys are kind of getting your affairs finalized, getting potions and supplies and gear and clothing, we hop over. Renata, you have a conversation with Treat.
He just wants to know if he knows any followers of Tysus.
Okay. Treat would say, we don't have any students of that right now. He's not common as far as clerics go, but you can always
grab a symbol and try praying to him yourself.
I mean, it's worth a shot. Just to kind of understand the scope of this. And if he doesn't answer, well, that's fine too.
He listens best at night.
She looks at the sky. Right, but you have a shrine here.
I do.
And I'm leaving, so I either do it at night without a shrine or in the day with a shrine.
Yes. You
I'm
have
gonna do it
stated
here.
the
I might as
facts
well
of the
try.
matter. All right. And Treat just goes back to his desk.
Oh, can I borrow a symbol?
You could buy one.
I don't have any money, Treat.
Then make one. You know what it looks like?
What does it look like?
You know what Tice's symbol
I'm
looks
asking
like.
the DM.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let me pull up. I can just give you
There's 44 gods. Leave me alone.
There are a lot of gods, yes. Hold on. Let me just pull you into the dock here.
Only you.
Yeah. Tice's symbol, for everyone, looks like a hand with 3 fingers extended like this, with a black cord wrapped across the palm.
She's gonna, I don't know, take a scrap of parchment out of her bag and draw it.
You have a holy symbol of Tice's.
Great. She's gonna go to the shrine and try to pray.
Okay. What is your prayer?
I'll cast Enhance Ability. It worked last time.
It's not nighttime.
She's going to say, I know. So give yourself advantage. She's going to say, Tices, I know I'm not a follower of yours, but I need to understand the scope of what we're dealing with. There are souls lost in Kylus Bay, and I'm wondering if it extends beyond Kylus Bay, or if it's just this region. I hope you can answer me.
Roll a wisdom plus proficiency.
26.
26. It's not as strong a presence as when you feel with Calciox. But you feel adrift. For a moment you feel confused, as if there's no weight under your knees, as if you're floating. It's very bizarre, and something you've never felt before. You hear, souls are lost everywhere.
It seemed like he's waiting for me to reply.
Do you have something to say?
Yeah, he says souls are lost everywhere. Yes, thanks. She will counter that with, this is a specific event or incident of recent occurrence in this area and potentially beyond.
No, it is not.
Where are they going? Has it been happening for longer than we realize?
No soul whose vessel dies at sea has gone to their afterlife. And I cannot find them.
For how long?
Since I've taken this mantle.
How long ago was that?
Roll a religion check, because your conversation with Tices ends after that note.
Religion's intelligence. Oh, heck.
It is.
What?
A 9? You don't
I rolled a
know,
natural.
but you know
Yeah.
it's been a long time.
And it's just, nothing's ever been done about it.
You say that out loud in the
He
middle.
says out loud after she is separated from Tices. What?
Huh? Treat says from the table across the room.
You follow near, right?
Aye?
And presumably... Jesus, what was that? Sorry. Presumably, there's some overlap in Nir's domain and the ocean.
It's a big part of his portfolio, aye.
Were you aware that all souls lost at sea are lost entirely?
No?
They don't go to their afterlives. They've never have.
Nier has always warned that should we perish to return to the salt of the Amph. To die on land, as a warrior.
But he didn't say specifically because you will be lost forever.
No. That's never come up.
That seems to be the case. I guess it was just never deemed an issue.
You see,
The
Treat
Baron's
actually
doing
looks a
something about it
little
now, or
troubled
trying to.
about it as he's thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. And we're about to head out to sea. Where we will encounter danger, no doubt.
Revivification has worked at sea. We have records of it happening
It seems
at
like if
Navy.
you don't catch it at that... I suppose if you miss that window, there's nothing left to retrieve.
Noted. I'm going to pray on this. Stay safe.
We'll do our best.
You see Treat actually has opened up another book and is pouring through it as you have this conversation. All right. So, Renata, you've learned that.
She'll go back to the group. Tuck her little scrap of Tysus in her pocket.
Okay. Everyone, you have accomplished what it was that you were trying to accomplish, and it is nearing the time where you must get to the docks to depart. Firstly, it has been raining all morning. It is dreary, wet, and foggy out here. But as you are making your way out, away from the Mariguard, towards the docks on the south side of Ferrum. A moment here. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. Okay, so I'd like to know if there's any preparations or purchases or any last things, any last details before you go to sea, because you're going to be on the water in character for a few weeks dealing with this. Speak now or forever hold your bacon.
Oh, well,
We did.
wish I had been thinking about that.
You can think about it after the session as well, over the next couple weeks. If you think of anything you wish you had add, you can let me know, and we can just say you picked it up now.
Okay.
But
Get good
while I have you
flow.
on camera, if you think of anything, let me know.
Right.
I feel like Scythe is probably not in a very good headspace for preparation. So the things that she was specifically told that they would need, like warmer clothing and earplugs, she's aware of, but I don't think she's thinking about.
Echo, Spring is going to pick up. She's going to go to the candy shop and get some treats that are not easily perishable and made of sugar. And
Okay.
are going to and is going to silently hand them off to Scythe.
So there isn't really a candy shop. There's Patty's Cakes, and there's the general store. But you can pick up candy at the general store if you'd like.
General store. Great. Yes, general store.
Okay. Someone does sell honeycomb. It's true. Yeah, you get yourself. You can
Scythe
get
does
candy.
not seem to know how to interact with this candy. Like, it's almost like Spring has... By handing this to her, she's just like standing there holding it, and she's looking down at it, and it's like this is addressed to a part of her brain that is just not firing right now, and she doesn't really know what to do with it, and so just kind of stands there looking awkward for a minute, and then she does say thank you, but she seems weirdly lost when
Sure.
presented with sugar at this moment.
Spring similarly has never been good at giving gifts, as we have seen, and so she all like pats Scythe's arm and like nods and like goes to do more logistics.
It's sad because this would ordinarily, like, Scythe has a notorious sweet tooth at this point, but at this moment she's just...
Yeah, I mean the point is that they are perishable. They are not easily perishable.
They're like,
they'll
here's
last
some
for-
boiled sweets that will last on the
this
trip.
will
It's
last
a very
you-
thoughtful gift. It's just that right now she's like,
Totally.
what even is
Spring
eating?
does not-
I don't know.
Spring does not know the extent of what is going on, and she understands the capacity to like help her friend process that at all. She's not the person to do that. So she's gonna get her candy and then bounce.
She's gonna have to bounce onto the ship. We only had an hour to get here.
Yeah, you guys are basically, you're heading to the docks when all this is happening. And as you're going to the docks, you see a couple things. The first is that the Water Witch is at the dock, and you can see Captain Naga and Albie like getting the ship ready to depart. They are anticipating your approach. At the edge of the docks, right before your actual dock that extends out to your ship, you see Dredger standing, looking out over the water. And as you're approaching, he does turn and look at all of you. It doesn't look like he's going to stop you, but he is aware of your presence. You say anything to him? It's okay if no.
Just trying to think of what I could tell this guy. I didn't meet him
Scythe
before.
kind
I
of
just heard
stares at him, but
described.
she's not in a talking mood.
Yeah, it's fine.
Guy kind of looks between Scythe and Dredger, and is just like, okay, well, it's like 7 a.m. and we're sailing off to.
Oh, it's not even 7 a.m.
It's like 6 a.m. and
Yeah.
we're sailing off to
I think
certain death. So he just kind of gives Dredger the peace.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
He like turns and looks
I think
away from
Renata
you.
would try to make.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say Renata would try to make eye contact with the eye he has,
Yeah, you can.
and kind of just give him like a meaningful, respectful nod
He looks at you.
because he's doing what he believes is right. She respects that, and she's doing what she believes is right, and she hopes whatever happens is the right thing.
He turns and looks out over the bay, and he says,
They've begun to feel it. The old pulse. The water forgets nothing. It will bring them home.
and he like turns his head suddenly as he's like looking closer at the water by the secondary dock.
Things that were shaped by the chaos. They don't die. They sleep. And they listen.
And he like moves past you towards the edge of the dock, looking down.
They're not angry. Just drawn. Like ash to fire.
He then turns and looks at each of you, and he slowly unhooks the enormous whaling knife off of his back.
You will see when the water boils.
And perhaps he saw something that you did not see when leaping out of the water, crawling up onto the docks, are enormous, scaled, urchin-like sea creatures that up onto the surface as they appear, crawling up over the crates, and Dredger raises the whaling knife over his head. And this is what you see.
Oh no. Oh no.
Now, I have you paused because it has been brought to my attention that Meg is out of time, and this is a combat that is going to be spicy. So, we're going to go ahead and pause the session here, and we will pick up with this fight next time.
Is Dredger fighting
Captain
us?
August, like, I hate these people.
No, he's raising the
No,
knife.
he's gonna
Fighting
fight
us.
these things.
Okay, I
Well,
figured
he's
that.
red.
I was just like,
I get it.
he's in the wrong side. Okay.
I get it. He was red. I was also
He
confused.
was red. He was red, and I was like,
That's just the NPC circle.
Yeah.
The players have silver ones.
Ooh.
So, as we come to the end of the session, we almost got to the combat. We will next time. For sure. It's literally the first thing that's going to happen. Yes, a lot did happen. Before we get anywhere else, though, we must first give everyone an opportunity to vote for a player's point of inspiration. So, we're going to start at the top of the order with Meg.
Hi. I enjoyed a lot of things tonight.
That's good.
Probably my favorite was Aryn. He was very kind of truthful tonight in a way, like while he was drunk in bed wanting people to stay with him, like, and I thought that was very vulnerable in a way, so it was cute. So I'll give mine for Aryn.
Okay. First votes for Aryn. Next, Hellfrog.
I'm going to vote for Scythe for dealing with something that can't really be dealt with on a short timetable. And still, yeah, I just thought I liked it. There's a lot of more to come with Scythe in this one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Pen.
I want to give it to Aryn for a very specific moment where Renata had come to the conclusion that she wasn't going to push Aryn. She was going to let him come to her. And he immediately, as she was leaving, he was like, I used to be fat.
That was great.
Whoa.
Yes. Okay.
So all that did was reinforce, okay, I just need to give him space. Just implying that I'm going to give him space got information out of him. Hooray.
Okay. Emily.
it was a really great session for a lot of people. But I was particularly compelled by Scythe for many moments, but the one that really stuck with me was after Aryn, does his, it makes his deal with its cost. We'll see whatever that cost ends up being for him. And then she says twice,
that was the trade.
I will not forget. And then the second time, kind of more insistent, especially your intonation there, Sal, like, I will not forget. Like, and that was like such a good kind of callback to so many moments that they've kind of had, because you had that conversation with him like on the boat before about like, hey, your burden is also my burden, and it was just such a good mirroring of that whole thing, and I like it a lot.
Okay. Rise.
All right. I'm so torn, because the moment that for some reason made me laugh the most, which is usually what I get, is completely inconsequential to anything.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly was just like,
Follow
what
your
do you guys surf? What do you guys that you know what? If I'm following my heart, which is ridiculous, it was what are your guys' surface thoughts? And I was like, I would think it was Ari was like the bag of mice. It's like I internally broke because I was like, man, through all of this like emotional development stuff, gone from my mind. But asked one time what those surface thoughts were, it was just like, where's the bag of mice at? You know, like because I got to make sure I got the meese with me. And I don't know why that made me laugh like internally so hard, and it's so inconsequential. But if I'm following my heart, I have to go with that because it was the best comedic timing of the night.
Okay, so that points for Meg. All right, last but not least, Sal.
So I want to give an honorable mention because when she did this, I was going to give her my vote, but then other things happened, and I think I have to. Okay, so my honorable mention is for Hellfrog for ending my drunk RP when I looked up at the moon and deciding
Very funny.
I almost
Very
fell over.
deeply
I thought it
funny.
was very funny. But I do feel like I want to give it to Aryn because he literally made a new deal with his patron to find shit out about my character for our friendship, and it was very, very good. And there was a lot of RP meat for us today. So I feel like that's where I gotta go.
All right, so Rise, you get the player's vote for inspiration. Well done. And as we get to the end of the session, I had a great time running for you guys. I hope you all had fun. And to those of you who are at home or at work watching, hi Penn, hi Emily, hi Meg, hi class, hi everybody else. We love you all.
Hi.
And I wish you a good night.